Hello and welcome to the Everything Dodgeball podcast. I am your host, Adam Hill, and today I have two fantastic guests. I have your former host, Stefan Leidinger,
Hey,
and
everybody.
your future host, maybe, hopefully not, Brett Koenig.
Hey guys, good to be back.
Take it away, Stefan.
All right. Thank you so much for the intro. Mr. New host, Adam, you're doing a fantastic job. I'll take it from here for now. So I'm going to give the podium back to the host, basically. And let's start off by where are you mentally, emotionally right now? You have won it all, done it all. You came and did what you said you were going to do. And how does that feel?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I think the team is very happy with themselves, very proud. We're all very proud of our men's and mixed performances coming away with the golds that we wanted in those. So obviously ecstatic at the time and still reeling it in and enjoying it. And the when I think about dodgeball, I don't absolutely hate it at the moment, which is a nice feeling to have with a hobby that you're very passionate about. So yeah, we're in a pretty good period.
All right. That sounds way better. How about you, Brett? Where are you
Yeah,
at?
good, thank you. I hate it less than I did a year ago, so that's always fantastic.
That is good.
Really proud of the England team, across all six divisions, making finals for all six divisions. Just testament to the hard work of everybody in terms of staff and coaches and support staff and everything. So really pleased with that. And then focusing in on the divisions I was in, men's and mixed, really pleased to get to the final of both and show some really fantastic performances up until maybe half time in both of them. And I'm sure we'll get into that later in terms of what sort of slightly went wrong and how we can improve in the future. But yeah, really had a great time. And yeah, lovely to be part of another Euros.
All right. That sounds way more positive than last time. And I like the
Yeah.
vibes. Definitely better this way. But let's just start where we left it off, basically. So we had a conversation 1 week prior to Euros, and obviously we got a little bit into it, but there was a lot we couldn't talk about. So let's just take it from there. It was 1 week to go, and what were like the final steps you took heading to Limerick, and then just how did the whole experience start for you over there? And again, back to the host, Adam. Oh, I can see a puppy in the
um,
background.
yeah, she's roaming around, keeping the neighborhood safe, staring out the window. Yeah, final preparations, as you said, we took the benefit of being essentially a home nation. I consider us the other home nation without actually having to do any organizing. We're the only ones that could drive there, other than a few English that took the ferry. But the benefit of being able to drive there was just packing the cars with absolutely everything and anything I needed, essentials, unessentials that are just luxuries, like things like a spare pair of sports shoes in case the worst happened and you put a hole through the ones you were currently using, like things like that that just make you feel like nothing could go wrong. Meal prepping as well. I mean, massive shout out to Shannon, who in the week prior cooked all of my food for the whole weekend, and then just gave it to me in boxes to heat up every evening. That was a big difference from Worlds, where we would get back quite late some evenings and have to like sort a delivery, and it wasn't then you just had to see what was still open, and we didn't always eat the best. Um, so like I like the fact that we are fueling ourselves a little bit better, and then when you know you're fueling yourself better, you'll feel better, you'll mentally feel better because you obviously have to eat, but you're eating what you want to eat. Um, Things like that. The accommodation being right next to the venue or in walking distance for us as well. I like that. Like that in terms of the preparation. The Irish were kind to us and put us a little bit closer than some of the nations. So yeah, I don't know if there was a little bit of a helping hand there or not, but I'm sure I sure appreciated it anyway. Other things, so like the last week, I was obviously doing my homework on the teams we had to play. I do a big part of that, as I'm leading the mixed team, so I'm responsible for most of it on that. And then the men's as well, I need to have a good idea of who we're coming up against. I mean, I had bigged up both the Welsh and the French who were in our group, so sorted out what I thought was going to happen with them, and left me in a good mental position. And I think our guys as well, going into them knowing that we'd have to be on form to play them. And then obviously your two teams with the plan of meeting Austria in the men's semi. So doing our homework on you guys, making a lot of strategical changes that everybody was aware of, and that was all posted out within our groups that identify things that we did wrong and some stuff we did very wrong at Worlds. Yeah, and even getting the mentality a whole lot better and being ready for you guys. England as well, I would say we did a lot of preparation on England, and then a lot of it had to get thrown out because the players that we thought were going to play weren't going to play. But just being able to adapt to that a little bit. But I mean, mentally, when good players can't play, it's usually a little bit of a you're like, oh, it's sad that, for instance, Brett wasn't going to be able to be at full capacity, but you're still taking the positives, knowing that it does make the game a little bit easier for you. So, yeah, a lot of, I think mentally a lot better, being prepared, probably less nervous, less pressure than this time last year, or whenever it was when we did Worlds. Just, yeah, better headspace, knowing that maybe we were the slight underdog again and not the favourites. Yeah, probably. Brett, how about you?
Yeah, it was similar, really. I think it wasn't a massively difficult journey for us. Obviously, fairly short flight over, and so the prep's kind of the same in the lead up. Just deloading in the gym, keeping your eye in terms of dodgeball, not going too heavy, keeping nutrition on point as much as you can, and then obviously got out there on the day the day of the sort of opening ceremony. And yeah, like you, was really pleased to see that everything was on a sort of single campus. I really like the campus experience. We did it back in 2018, I think, in Italy, and I'm a big fan of when everybody's in that sort of same venue. Ours was one of the further ones away, so the walk wasn't as kind, but very much enjoyed it. I thought the venue was fantastic. The organisation was really good. Had a really good feel to it the whole tournament. In the lead up, there was a really good mentality in the squad. Everybody was pulling in the same direction. There's really good sort of positivity. Had that mixture really of sort of some of the more experienced players and some youngsters coming through for their first tournaments and their first Euros. So it was quite nice actually to have that sort of mixture of people who've been there and done it, and the people who are, you know, it's like seeing the Euros through your first eyes for the first time again. It's so exciting, you know, really good to see that. So yeah, preparation was really good. And then, yeah, a bit like you, really just sort of taking stock of where we were after each day. It's difficult, the analysis, because you want to see what's going well and what's not going so well, but it doesn't always extrapolate to the teams you're eventually going to play. I think we expected to have obviously Austria in the semis of mixed, and that didn't materialise. And then I think, based on my predictions, we thought we'd get you in the men's, so there was nothing too surprising there for us. So I think overall things panned out. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into maybe the finals and stuff later, so I won't go on to that just yet. But in terms of the prep, that was my point of view.
Okay, that sounds pretty similar, and also I like the professional feel to it. It seems like it's gotten better over the last few years, where, as you said, Adam, you take everything a little bit more serious. Obviously, with the closeness of the venue, you can bring even your food, which is quite amazing. And that was definitely something I enjoyed in Graz as well, to like know at least what's going to be in the supermarket and be able to cook your meals or get food you really like to eat. And this time it was much harder. I think I ate pizza every evening, and which was fine, to be honest, but not great, and also quite a bit too late often. But yeah, apart from that, pretty much the same for me. I'm just gonna have to connect my laptop, otherwise I'm going to be gone in a second. All right, so you arrive there. Obviously, opening ceremony. You see everyone for the first time and get a little bit of feel for the venue. As you said, that was really, really nice having everyone together and having sort of that real event feel where everything's quite professional in one place. You have accommodations and stuff. So that was really cool. We were also quite far away. So we actually went there by car most of the days because we had a rented one. So we got use of that. But then, as you said, like you prepared, you knew what was going to, what you're going to have to face. And then, like, how did you sort of think before the tournament about balancing yourself, balancing the teams? What were your thoughts on the 4-day tournament, knowing that there will be quite a heavy load to pull? And how did you want to try to manage beforehand that you're going to be fit for those semifinals and finals? I'm always going to start with you, Adam. You're the host.
Brett looked like I was inhaling there about to start, so we'll just have to hold it for a second. Preserving energy and things like that was definitely in my mind. Happy that it was 4 days and not 6 or 7 that Worlds was going to be, so I knew in that regard I'd feel it a little bit easier. But we did reasonably well. Like I think our groups were on paper potentially a little bit tricky, but we, especially in the mixed, I tend to just share it absolutely 50-50 around everybody. Get half rest, get half play. Everybody plays because everyone in that squad is already in another squad, and I'm not responsible for who plays in that squad. So rather than getting too deep and chatting to other coaches and being like, oh, this person needs a few more sets and things like that, I think it was just easier for me to just put a blanket approach and do it that way when I was in charge, and one less thing for me to have to think super deeply about, which worked most of the time. I think there was only our very first game against Belgium in the mixed where we had to throw on a few that weren't supposed to play, myself included. Momentum is a serious thing in dodgeball, and the Belgian team just had it, and we could not get it back off them. So that one was a little bit more energy than we maybe anticipated putting in, but hats off to them for making that a real contest. It was a really good game. Other than that, I think we managed it pretty well. The guys that came in, it was a new squad in a way for the men's in particular. Mixed was reasonably similar with just a couple of changes. But men's was quite a few, 4 or 5 that I said the last time, dropping out of our squad and coming in, and a few making full debuts or European debuts and having to show their stuff. And I think they did pretty well. They had a very probably a nicer game against, I think it was Ukraine or Luxembourg. I can't remember which one we had in the men's. So that was probably a good one for them to get the nerves out of the way and play and show some good stuff. And then we were able to bring them in our other group games. And then again, being able to reward players for good performances as well was something Josh and Johnny, who were picking those teams, did well. So we got the Irish, who we know exceptionally well, really, in our quarterfinal, which is probably a nice quarterfinal for us, in all honesty, in the men's. So we were able to give a few players who were playing well that maybe wouldn't see as much court time later on in those semis and finals, some extra game time because they were playing so well, which in turn takes takes even more weight off some of those other key players that we knew we'd need later on. So yeah, we talk about trying to balance yourself and being fit, but performances drive that as well. And if your whole team sticks to the plan and they all perform at the level, then you kind of have the freedom to chop and change and rest who you want. And I think that was a good testament to the full depth of our squad and kind of really stepping up when the experience wasn't maybe wasn't maybe there, and that made some of us a little bit nervous with the level of experience we were bringing to be able to compete with both Austria and England. But hats off to them. They should be really proud of themselves, and yeah, phenomenal, and hope they get better and better. Was there another half to that question, Stefan?
I don't know, honestly. But
Yeah, that's
seems-
fine. I talked for a few minutes. I'll pass over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so similar with us, really. I think we managed the minutes really well in the group stages. I think we had a lot of different things we wanted to try in terms of tactics and lineups. I don't think we were massively clear on who our sort of starting six was going to be, and I think the groups gave us a good chance to find that out. We also managed to rest some players that we would use later on for more minutes, so that went really well. I think particularly on the men's side, I don't think we had any issues in terms of squad rotation. I think everybody felt quite good with the minutes in the group stages, even through to the knockouts and actually into the semi-finals as well. And I think we probably showcased the depth we have in the squad in the mixed as well by coming through. I think if we look back to the starting mixed side that played in a year before, myself, Arnie and Tamas, none of us played in the semi-finals against France. Three completely different players in the men's side of things. And to go through a really difficult team like that, and it was touch and go until the second half and pull through, I just think shows what a fantastic sort of depth we have in those squads. So yeah, we managed it well. I think difficulty for us was suffering a couple of injuries. So Holland mixed, I think Arnie tore his tricep that day. I injured my rotator cuff in the Scotland matches, which was not ideal. So yeah, really frustrating from a personal point of view.
Were they quarterfinals?
Yes. No, they weren't actually. I think both group matches. But the Scotland match was, I don't know if you saw that mixed match, it was pretty tight for a while.
Yeah.
I think for me that was probably what didn't help. Was I started off in that game, came on pretty cold to a very hot match. I think it was 14-10 to Scotland at the time with about 8 or 9 minutes to go. And I was brought on fairly cold, and that is just an injury disaster waiting to happen, having to go up against Scotty, who's completely warm and ready to go, and just knowing you need to reel off basically 4 consecutive sets. And so I think I maybe felt a little bit discomfort after that game, and then going into the next match, obviously felt something go. So maybe a lesson for myself in terms of subbing and when to come on and when not to come off. So yeah, frustrating from a personal point of view. I actually jinxed it. We went to a Nando's with Meteors at the end of British Champs, and we were all talking about different injuries over the years. And somebody asked about a shoulder, and I said, touch wood, I've never actually injured a shoulder in my last 15 years of playing. I did touch wood, so that thing's a myth. But yeah, losing 2 starting wingers, I think, really shows how good everybody else pulled through. So like shout out to Jamie, to Jack, particularly on their first Euros debuts. Well, actually Jamie's second Euros, but Jack's first one. So yeah, really well done to them.
Yeah, they were both good. Both played well. Do you think that you're saying about managing minutes, and you probably did that well, but then the injuries happened to 2 players that you potentially were resting a little bit more? Do you feel like that maybe contributes to then adding additional minutes to key players? Like, I guess when you got to the final day, there was a reliance on maybe Finn and Jack quite a lot on the wings, and less options, and maybe, I don't know if they were feeling tired or anything like that, but just asking 100%. To see what you felt.
Yeah, they were so fatigued that they put an absolute shift in. I think had we had me and Arnie, we would have played at least a half of the men's semis, at least a half of the mixed semis. They just looked absolutely like they'd given so much absolutely gassed. And I think they're still fairly new to that sort of. I mean, like the 3 of us have probably been doing that for years, playing men's mixed back to back in tournament dodgeball 4 or 5 day tournaments, and you kind of get used to the demands of that. You know, I remember in previous years, coming straight off a mixed semis, 40 minutes, go straight on to a men's semis, 40 minutes, and you just get used to it. And so that level of conditioning is hard to get. And those guys did absolutely unbelievably. But yeah, I think we just looked and thought we're out of wingers at the moment. You know, we really are out of options. And that's bad luck, and that's sport, that happens. And I think that's one of the reasons I sort of said to my team, look at the positives. You know, we led both finals at half time. In an ideal world, we'd have had 2 extra wingers. In an even more ideal world, we'd have had Tamas here as well, like 3 potential players that would definitely have played some role. And yeah, so a lot to be proud of as well.
Yeah, they played great. But I'm sure I've been there before where I've had to play 1,000 minutes just to get us to where we want to be, and then
Yeah,
you're just so tired when you're in that final. 2019 sticks out to me against Austria. Like, we had to play as in the group, and then England in the semi, and then use again in the final. And we had this really energetic running counter style of dodgeball at that time, which I don't advise any team to try and do for 4 days. But yeah, that's the most tired I've ever felt.
yeah, it's killer. And I think it's such a fine thing managing minutes, because you want to rest players that are going to be needed later. But if you don't rest them and have to bring them on, I remember in 2018 New York, and I think 3 or 4 of us were told, like, categorically, you're not being played in this match. We were playing USA actually, and we went 2-0, 4-0, 6-0, 8-0 down, possibly 10-0, and stone cold. It was like all 4 of you are on next set, and you just think. Again, I remember the knock-on effect. That was about 11 o'clock at night, of playing the knockouts the next day. It's just not conducive at all. Now, if you win that match cleanly, you've done a great job by resting your players. But if you haven't, and your players have to come on and all, you have to perform to such a higher level when you're down in a match to actually pull it back. So it's a fine balance, and it's a bit of luck of the draw, really, as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think we actually thought our groups would be tougher than they actually were in the end, except for France, obviously. But for us, that really didn't matter at that time. We didn't really care whether it was England or Northern Ireland in the semi-final. In hindsight, that was probably a stupid thing. But at that point, we were like, okay, we're gonna try to play our game. And if it's England or Northern Ireland, we're gonna have to face both of them either way if we want to win. But in the groups, actually, our groups were easier than we thought they would be, because especially Sweden didn't put their best players in the men's team. And then actually, like, we had our first game against Belgium, and we played just, I think, 8 players, and none of the starting players. I don't know if that is completely correct, but a few of us just sat that game out, and those was actually the team that came in second in our group. And we played against them, and they played surprisingly well, but we still managed them very handily. But afterwards, we tried to play a bit more against Sweden. They were actually not that strong. And then our most important thing, or most important game that we thought, was Switzerland, which was basically, I think, the first game I played, which was weird. So basically, our group stages were really not that tough, and we could rotate a lot, and our new players really got a lot of playing time and really did the job very well. So we had no Swiss gate or anything. So all the games we lost were basically lost by the starting 6 players, and our newer players actually did a really, really good job. And the thing this time, because I think it's really interesting that you said you were happy that it wasn't a 6 or 7 day tournament, because for me, I think a 4-day tournament is way more exhausting, because you have just so many more games crammed into a short amount of time, and you don't get the chance to recover in between. So like for Worlds, I felt completely fit on final day. Obviously, if you play semis and then third place, you're done on the day before. But I think in the end, especially, that was the first time, I think, in Canada, where you had the day off on Saturday without any games, if you only had the finals to play. And I was like, that was so amazing. That was the first time I think I felt fit in a final. And that was such a different experience.
I think a day off is good. Half a day off where you play in the morning and then play in the afternoon. See, I don't like that. I'd rather play a game, sit one game off, and still be three quarters warm, and then play again. So like I'm playing rather than having to do 2 full warm-ups in a day. That was, I think, what I disliked about Worlds, but to each their own.
Yeah,
You did it better.
apparently that is what we need. We need 6-day tournaments now. Okay, that's your Achilles heel. Good to know. So I'll
Just
talk
make all
to.
my games at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. and
Yeah, we had that. We
that'll
had
that'll
every slot at 8 o'clock this year in Limerick, and always one of the last slots, and it was just killing us. We almost had to like have a ref chop on the finals day at 8 o'clock as well. So we had every day the men's squad had to be there at 8 o'clock every day, or at least at 8 o'clock, which was
yeah, we had 2 of those days, and on the final day, our women were playing the 7th, 8th at 8 a.m. in the morning, and they did give us permission not to attend and just watch on the stream, which we are all very grateful for.
yeah, that is nice. Yeah, because that I think that is what really killed me. Like I felt physically that tournament for me wasn't as exhausting as the previous ones. Like Vienna Calling a few weeks before was way tougher than that. And I think our balancing throughout the team went really great. But just those long days in the event hall were grueling for me. So I felt physically completely ready to play dodgeball even on Monday, but like my brain was not working anymore. And I felt really like mentally fatigued on day 3 and 4 because we always had that first spot and the last spot. And then you come home at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, then you have to get something to eat still. And then you get something to eat, and you do a few meetings, try to prepare for the next day, and then it's 12 and you try to sleep, then you fall asleep somewhere and you have to get up at 6:30 again, that you get some breakfast in before you go to the hall. So I think for the future I would love to see the start of events maybe at 10 and the end at the latest at 8 or 7, so that you get more rest time in between, because I think like not being able to really recover and sleep as much as you need is really not good for the sporting performance, also for injuries. And it's just, yeah, it just fatigues you over 4 days. So I really felt physically, I felt primed. I've never felt as fit before, and mentally I haven't felt that like foggy at a tournament in a long time than this. So that was like, and I didn't play a lot. Like the first 2 days, I really played, I think, 3 games or something, and those weren't really that intense. So it was just sitting in the hall, walking from one event to the other, getting something to eat, coaching the women's, watching this team, watching the other team, and it was just, yeah, that was definitely the one part I didn't like about this Euros, and that's why I'm personally for a 5-day Euros where you get maybe I don't I think like having 2 games in 3 slots is way better than morning and evening session. I'm completely with you there, Adam. But like having those first and last slots and not being able to recover in between, and not being able, even if like your accommodation is so close to the venue, it wasn't close enough for us to walk back and walk to it because it was like half an hour, so we couldn't like leave and stretch out in bed for a second and go back to the evening matches. So we always had to stay in the at the venue for the whole day, and that really put some strain, at least on me it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I forgot what we were really talking about. So, so yeah, obviously, like managing time, managing minutes, and injuries as well. So, how was it in your team, Adam? Because we actually, I think we didn't sustain any significant injury in all the 6 categories that we played in, I think. How was it for Northern Ireland?
Our most significant injury was Sam Lav, who pulled his calf at British Champs, and it was, as far as I'm aware, incredibly painful the whole time. But he, well, the message was, "We need you. We're probably not going to win if you don't play." Just the level of power that he has, and ability, and he just managed it. He wore some sort of full calf sleeve on his calf to play, and by the end of the 4 days, it was heavily bruised. again.
But
So he's
what a
probably,
semi-final he had.
yeah,
Fuck yeah.
probably
Unbelievable.
re-injured it. But yeah, it was just chatting to him and seeing like he was probably the person that got the least minutes, or we tried to give him, because we knew he had to be there basically. And other than that, well, we had one player, John Bruce, who had a broken wrist from a few weeks before, but he made a magical recovery and was able to play in just a small brace in the end, and actually played pretty well. So hats off to him. I think he would have lied through his teeth and gone, "It's fine, it's fine, it's fine," and just to keep his spot. I'm sure any of us would. And obviously Josh got hurt something. He got strained his hamstring in one of the games, and yeah, in the final against England, came
Game
on
changer.
first set, stretched his hamstring, and then just decided to play the game at walking pace.
Exceptionally well.
Yeah, exceptionally well. You're right. But
That's
no,
crazy.
personally, no shoulder issues at all. Really,
Passed them on to me, did you?
yeah, I think so. Going into the final game, that final mixed final, there was some muscle that was slightly sore, but not to the point of that's just regular wear and tear of a 4-day tournament, but no injuries, thankfully.
That's nice, because I think like it felt, at least at the top teams, like that the fitness this year of all the teams was just better than in the past. I don't know if you felt the same way. I think our team like was definitely the fittest it's been in a time, and we worked a lot on that. And so I think that was at least one part of why we didn't get any injuries. But I felt like all around the level of athleticism and fitness got way better this tournament around, and
Yeah,
everyone is like knows what a 40-day tournament like takes from your body, and so it felt like people were much more prepared than in the past.
I agree, and the ability to last over 40-minute matches was there as well. Whereas sometimes you get a tough 10 minutes and then they just die off. Whereas the games were competitive for much longer.
Yeah. So outside obviously of the semifinals and finals and the Belgium game, like what teams you played like surprised you, like in a positive or in a negative way? What was like, you did a lot of preparation on your teams before you went there. What were like the most surprising factors that you had to face?
I think we were prepared for Wales being good, so they were as good as I expected them to be and played well and took sets, obviously. So I don't know if there was really any men's surprises. I think the big one for me was, and maybe it was just because it was the first day I think we played them, was the Netherlands in the mixed, who I think ended up coming 5th when I looked at the final rankings. I'm not sure they got 4 points against us. They didn't show up at all. Like they definitely didn't get double digits. I think it was very, very low score. But I don't know, players maybe just didn't quite turn up. We had identified their key weapon, which I will call out, is Larissa Lanting with the leap of faith. She just constantly leap of faiths and hits the man in the middle.
Damn it, I gave it away.
It's such a cool play. But for that game, I was just like, Murphy, go on and stand and she missed Murph about 4 times, or Murph dodged it, or and even then, if she'd went actually hit him, he'd probably have caught it anyway. So we'd identified that as a strength, but that sort of weapon didn't pay off. They obviously were a good team and pulled it together to come 5th. Like I'd done a lot of prep on thinking that they would come 2nd in our group, which they did, but they just didn't really show their quality against us. But I'd look forward to playing them again, and maybe it was just coming against us and haven't played us. I don't think we've played them too much, or a team that their team was a little different maybe than the last time we played them. But I'll hope for a slightly more competitive game from them the next time.
Or maybe they were just smart and rested their players. They were like, yeah,
Could
go
be.
ahead, take that. We don't need that win. We're not going to get it. Just focus on other stuff, because they had a lot of really intense games. And I think most comebacks in like those 4 days were done by the Netherlands in the last 3 minutes basically. So I think they had a lot
Yeah,
of really
I
close
remember
games.
their Instagram story, and it was just like you clicked through every single one, and it was a one set win, one set win, one set win, one
Yeah.
set win for the whole first 2 days. You're like, that is
And there were
crazy.
always 3 sets back and 3 minutes
Yeah.
to play or something like that. So that was
Oh,
really
the
completely
Sweden
crazy.
game,
That was
like
so
Matt
sick.
Wheels done the YouTube of that. That's class. That comeback.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, that was really completely crazy. And they did a comeback against Scotland. I think they were that was maybe in the men's. That was in the men's where they were down like 4 or 5 sets to 0 and then went back. And obviously, the last game, what was it against? They won against Sweden and
The fifth,
another
sixth.
one. Yeah, I don't know.
Czech maybe. Scotland mixed. Maybe it was Scotland mixed.
Scotland mixed probably.
In the fifth,
yeah,
sixth,
probably
I think
Scotland.
it was.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was absolutely crazy, and no one predicted them to come 5th. That was really cool to see. So okay, and Brad?
Yeah, I think for us probably, well, for me, the main surprise was the 2 Scotland teams being one stronger than I thought and one weaker than I thought. Because I think on the predictions beforehand, I thought Scotland men's would maybe be quite tough, and I said I didn't think Scotland mixed had enough firepower to be tough. And we surprisingly went through Scotland men comfortably. I mean, I don't think we dropped a point for about 25 minutes, and that surprised me how comfortable that performance was. And then the opposite was true in the mixed. Obviously, we decided to rotate our team a bit, which I think was always the plan. But when you'd lost to France in the mixed, I think if we'd lost to Scotland, we probably would have got NI in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
I was just like, this is seeing nightmares. I was just like, I prepared for mixed being the clean route, and I was just like, are these two, both of them, going to lose?
And I mean, sort of, yeah, cards on the table. I wasn't massively happy with the decisions of the personnel for that game. I thought the start was absolutely fine, but I thought if we had an intention to get the easiest route, we should have probably made changes earlier. And so that surprised me. I started off ball retrieving, and Scotland came flying out. It was nip and tuck. It was close for a long time, and I just assumed at some point they would drop off, and they didn't at all. And so, yeah, that was a surprise for me. I thought Netherlands men, would have given us more trouble than they did, particularly because their mixed was strong. Their mixed were very strong. In that quarterfinals, I mean, I thought, you have these games in dodgeball, and you'll both be aware where after 40 minutes that you're going to win, probably, but there's certainly a stage where it's been set for set after about 20, 25 minutes. You think, we need to push on at some point because it's going to get really, you're in the trenches, and as the quality's improved, those the time you push on becomes later and later, right? It used to be like, we'll push on from half time. Now it's like, we'll push on with about 7 minutes to go and win comfortably, but it gets closer and closer as every nation's getting better.
Okay, so you had Netherlands in the quarterfinals.
A mixture.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So against you guys, they were strong. Against Adam, they weren't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it might have been just day one. But
exactly. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah, I think it's for me the same with Scotland. I thought Scotland men would be way stronger, but also I think at the point they played us, they already like put in too much effort against you guys in the men's game, and they were just a little bit more spent. So it was really a surprisingly easy game against them, and we were really prepared for that one. Or we tried. We didn't. We tried to prepare for that the night before, but it was just not possible with the stream quality that we had to watch that game against you guys. Like we really tried.
Against us.
Yeah, it was terrible. And then we tried to watch another one that was on court something, and it was so bad, the quality. So we just said,
the evidence of my team's performance against Belgium mixed has been erased from history. So they're all just going to pretend it doesn't exist when the inquest begins.
Yeah, that is smart. Someone's going to have it on his phone, at least the last few. I just have it imprinted in my when you went on and you just ripped off your shirt and went on, you had just such a mad
It
look in
did
your eyes.
stretch a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
did
oh
stretch.
no.
I was just hoping you would rip it apart and have a cape underneath, and then you flew in and you just killed people. You tried to kill people, and there was no smiling, nothing, just
Yeah,
trying to put Belgian people down.
Yeah, I wasn't very happy. I wasn't very pleased.
At that point, I was really pleased. That was really fun. And then we had France. So, yeah, I think it was at least like a little bit of tighter games, a few games in group stages that at least got close or went in a direction that you wouldn't have picked beforehand, which is, I think, really important and just shows the growth of the whole community. But in the end, it was basically the mostly the predicted semifinals. I don't think in the quarterfinals was there any close games. Well, you played against Netherlands, which was not close, but it was a game.
Was Wales men's quarterfinals close? With I can't remember who they were against. They were on the next court to us. I feel like that was going back and
Well,
forth. Was it Czech?
that was versus the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like going back to your earlier point, they suffered some injuries. I'm pretty sure.
Czech.
Then
yeah, like Hübner. Yeah, Hübner. He I don't know.
Broken.
He pulled some muscle in his back, I think very early on, but he just kept playing through. And I was like, it was a little bit like you in Edmonton. Where he was always holding his back in between, and then it was just going through and then holding his back and throwing again.
He was broken, and he was, I love seeing someone just put it all out there. So fair play to him. But yeah, I think that quarterfinals was close.
Yeah, probably. I didn't see it, but I could see that being close.
But the rest of them, probably not. I think we had Belgium in the men. That wasn't too close.
We had Ireland in the men and Scotland in the mixed, and neither were particularly close.
Yeah, for us. I
think the semis kind of
men's. Yeah, it was. So basically, it was just going to the semis, and that's where basically it started. And obviously, for us, we knew we would have the tough route in the men's and also in the mix, so we didn't care about it. So we actually thought a little bit about if I think Switzerland or Sweden would have been really strong, because we always plan to play Sweden with like 8 people and none of the starting 6. And I was like, if they come on strong and we lose, I don't care. Then we get to play you guys in the quarterfinal. And not many people were very pleased with that idea, but I was like, okay, we're gonna have to play you guys anyways if we want to win. And for some reason, I didn't really care whether it was third or I don't know what you can come fifth when you lose the quarterfinals, right? So probably it wouldn't be good for points and position for the next tournament, maybe. But in that situation, I just really wanted to play you guys. So that is England men's, and I saw the route and was like,
I told you Adam was not going to let it happen, didn't I? That's what I said. Nice things can't happen.
And he didn't. And that was yeah. So let's just jump into the semifinals, shall we?
Let's do it.
So Brad, tell me about yours.
Yeah, the Welsh men's. I think we were kind of hesitant because obviously we knew that they'd achieved some really great results, and I think there was a little bit of nervousness actually in our squad, like, oh, these players have been doing this and these players are doing that, and I was just like, whoa, relax. Like, we know who all these players are. You play them every week. If we had our team is a Super League team and their team is a Super League team, you would win. So like, don't panic. Treat them with a lot of respect because they've been fantastic. But also, I think when you start to oh, he's doing this and he's doing that, it's like you start to count yourself out. So I said, like, you want to go on court with that confidence because they're going to be doing the exact same thing for you guys. And yeah, I think early on we thought this could be a close match, but it was surprisingly, it was straightforward. And again, at this point, we had a mixture of players. We probably used 9 or 10 players, and I think it was probably one match too far for the Welsh because it was I don't know what the scoreline was. It was pretty convincing in the end. But they need a big shout out for what a great tournament they had, and some of their players just really stepped up, and it's good to see them there doing well. In the mixed, we had France in the semis. That was close for a long while. I think they took the lead. We took the lead, probably about level at half time. I think we won a couple of consecutive sets, and so did they. And this was, again, going back to that earlier point, three men that have probably never played at anywhere near the semi-final levels of the European Championships. I think first time for Jamie and Jack, and I can't remember who our middleman was. The women were just absolutely rock solid, as they were all tournament. Like, whoever came in for the women was superb in the mixed. And I was really pleased, because I know France were riding that wave of beating Austria, and they obviously have a young, dynamic side. So I was really pleased we got through that.
All right, then Adam, you can talk about the other semi-finals.
You both were in it twice.
Yeah. Start with the men's then. I think that our guys were we hit some incredible highs in that game. We played some of our best stuff. And normally when we play that well, we've hit those highs against England before, and England have crumbled. And we've gone 10-12-0 against them. And that's where I'd probably like to credit Austria, that we were playing very good, particularly in that first half, but the Austrians just got points. They found points in that first half that kept them in the game. And then so hats off to our guys first and foremost. The game plan of we have to play this well, and we can wipe them off the court, and it genuinely felt like that in the first couple of sets, that we were just gonna, with the hits everything was landing. We were just gonna smack all these guys off the court and be 10-0 up at halftime and happy days. But whilst the hits were landing at the start, the Austrians' ability to dig in and find something, I thought was absolutely phenomenal, and just kind of showed the grit and determination from really, really top level players. I don't think there's a lot of players out there that could have done that, and they were just fantastic. And it's incredibly annoying when you're playing so well that they can answer back with brilliance of their own. And I just made the game tight. It made the game nervy towards the end. We all know it got ridiculously close right at the end.
Let's talk about that, Adam.
Yeah, I'm sure we will get into the bizarreness of those last two
and
sets.
We're bringing on guest Basti.
Yeah.
He's not ready for the pod yet.
No.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to go to yourself, Stefan, before we get into the final sets, or...
Yeah, for sure. So I think you summarized it quite well. I think it felt like we went into the game with a plan. I'd say it was a plan, but it wasn't really a very specific plan or a well thought out plan. We obviously prepared for you guys, and we did a really intense preparation for the last time we met. And we sort of just watched a few games. We didn't see anything from the Northern Irish League, so we only had that game against I think, was it Meteors or Spartans? I don't know, from
both,
from British Open, with the walls and just three of your team basically. So we watched that and we're like, okay, you can't really take anything away from that. So we basically didn't have anything up to date on you guys to prepare for. So we basically just concentrated on ourselves and on the games we played against you in the past. And so we knew what was basically going to wait for us. Then obviously we didn't know what Kareem would do and Watson and whoever would replace Josh and Kelvin. But so I felt really semi-prepared, and we watched your first games. I watched the game against Wales, and it looked really strong, and it looked really like a well-oiled machine. But I couldn't take a lot away from it. It's like such a complete package that you have to play against, that it's very hard to find the flaws where you like try to dig in your little roots. And so we really focused on our side of the game and what we wanted to do. And yeah, I think in the beginning you just smashed it. It felt like ridiculous, like the way with what kind of aggression you came against us, and you made your hits, and we just tried to dig in, but we really didn't manage it. And there was always like one player or two players who managed to pull something incredible off that sort of kept us alive in the first half, because we were definitely the weaker team in that first half. But there was always like this one moment or that one catch or the one player who like did something miraculous. And sometimes you were just in such emotion that you made some sloppy mistakes at some points, which you usually don't do. But
I think that's what we'll have to learn from. Like, we would, especially in the second half, we would grind and grind and grind and win a close set, and then we just throw 2 points back at you in 90 seconds and undo all of our good work.
Exactly. So it felt like always when there was almost no hope, there was still, and it showed that you also have some chinks in your armor, and that was what basically kept us going to the second half. And we learned a lot from that first half. So like we basically formulated a new game plan for the second half and really tried to be more aggressive on the counters, especially on the post throws, because we felt you weren't punishing us the way we thought you would. And we were really passive in the beginning and doing no running counters, and Kareem just gunned down our right side, and we just couldn't get a hand into that game, it felt like. So we tried to be more aggressive. But yeah, that was pretty, I think it was the toughest game I've ever played. Well, because there were games where we had no chance in the past, and games that were tough but that we would win, or games that we would lose. But even like the final in Osijek was a tough game against you guys, but we never really had a chance. And in that game, it was like we knew there was a chance, but we were just holding on for dear life. And for some reason, we just stuck in that game and kept getting some chances and getting some set points. But there was pretty much nothing that felt easy. And I really felt I was just working my ass off. And still I felt like I was playing through water. It was nothing felt easy, nothing felt fluent. I was also a little bit in my head because I wanted to try to figure out like what to do, and it kept myself from playing the way I wanted to. And so it was really not, I enjoyed it, like the intensity of the game. I really enjoyed that. But other than that, I really didn't enjoy the game because it was just a struggle from the very first set on. And then we finally, in the end, like the thing is, I think basically you came out so strong, and it sort of seemed like just like it frustrated you a little bit that you didn't pull away the way you should have. And so we started to closer to it, and you made more mistakes, and it felt like the frustration was more on your side than our side. And we just got a few or 2 sets in a row, which was pretty much the most anyone could do in that second half. And so it was really, really a tough game. And I think I've never experienced playing a game like that, where those 40 minutes really felt like work from the very first second till the last. And then the problem on our side was that when we did something good in the beginning, we always made silly mistakes, and we were not able to like hold to our objectives. So we had not a really good preparation, but we had a few points that were made very clear, and we just couldn't execute on them. And then obviously we somehow got into that last set, and we can maybe let's start off with that second to last set. What happened there?
Well, the second to last set is the one that angers us. I'm sure the next one, the actual overtime set, will disappoint you guys more. But I don't think that final set should never have took place. Peter does clearly block that ball, and we're all on the set or on the court celebrating our win. And then we are called on a missed block, which it wasn't. But I could get into that more. I'll preface it by saying that particular call was made by one line ref without anybody interfering. And I think that is where the issue in the final set arises from. that there's maybe a little bit of inconsistency in the overtime set when we get into it. But yeah, it was kind of left to one line ref to be like, oh, I'm not sure. I think it maybe hit, and then they were allowed to make that call after discussion. Peter did make that block, and we felt very hard done by to be forced into an overtime set. Yeah, and then the overtime set began, and
because the thing
yeah, go
was
ahead.
with that second to last set, we thought it was a line fault. We thought he stepped on the line, and I never.
Heels are up. He was dangerously close to it, and we did make a number of criminal line faults in that game that we have to cut out. That's what we let you into many sets by line faulting, but in that particular set, there is no line fault and there is no hit.
Yeah, so at that point, like when we thought he was called out for a line fault, not for a missed block. But yeah, either way, I don't remember how the second to last set actually went, because something was I didn't watch it back just
I think
directly after.
Yeah, I think we're standing in it. Are we 2v1 up, but the score's tied, and your ball retriever throws the last ball on with 1 second to go at whoever your remaining player is, and
I think it was
just
2v3 or 3v3.
Oh, maybe
because I don't know.
But it was the final shot with less than a second left. It didn't hit, but a call was made.
Okay, so then let's get into that last set, and that is the set. Like, I think we didn't deserve to be in that set from like the quality wise. You were obviously the better team, but we deserve to be in it just for the sheer like willingness to stick and stay in that game and not get away from, and just not let it be taken from us. And then that was the first set where it finally clicked, and pretty much everything was going perfectly. And we're like, obviously, Johnny
tries to 2-foot tackle your middle runner. He just catches the sweat and both feet go. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is happening? And then I think you get 2 players with 1 ball potentially. Essentially everything went wrong until there was a stoppage or something.
We were up 5v2. Was there a stoppage?
We were up 5v2.
Yeah. We were up 5v2, and then you hit out Xaver. Then we were up 4v2, and then Max probably slipped in the same sweat puddle that Johnny slipped in before, and you took him away. And then Jacob gets pre-thrown by Smurf. And then we're in a 2v2, And then, so then we're in that 2v2.
Yeah, it's immediately after Murphy pre-throws Jacob. You and Basti both throw at me, and then the controversial call is made. And this is the one where the inconsistency goes. So you'll all know because I've said it. I feel something on the inside of my calf, and I get confirmation from the line ref, the back line ref, and he tells me I'm out, and I'm gone. I'm out, and for some reason the game stops. I've watched it back. I can't tell you why the center ref stopped the game at this point. I don't want to blame them for making calls, but they feel for some reason that they come in and make a call, and then it's hard. You can't hear them, but you can only really see from the cameras back that they're like both. Is it Bruno and Sam both signaling bounce or something along those lines? And I'm then called back on. I have no idea which balls collided with me or when it's hit me. I just know I felt something on my calf, and I nearly lost my stream disappeared there. I'm back. Something has grazed me, and a line ref has called me out, and then all of a sudden I'm then called back onto court, and I can tell that it must be Basti's ball. I think he's the one that then is obviously quite upset at the end of the game because he does think that's hit. I'm watching it back, I'm really not quite sure. I don't think the balls bounce from what I can see. My opinion is, watching it back, that they should have gone with the line ref call, particularly as they did it in the previous game, went with the line ref call, because I was out and was then called back on. I don't know how your guys see that, Stefan, but that's basically the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, honestly, like in the situation, I didn't see that we hit you or not, because my ball flew past you and I didn't see where Basti's shot went, and he was like, I hit him on the foot. I was like, okay, I had no idea in that situation, and I again didn't know what like the controversy was. I think like in those situations it's really hard, and I think that is something for spectators as well. Like those ref huddles, no one knows what's going on. So we need to mic up refs for the finals from now on, because this is like really frustrating for everyone. And it also like disrupts the game flow extremely. And if the audience could like participate in that controversy, it would be really exciting.
I think it's big, and to get to maybe, I like the refs did a fantastic job. Obviously, it's just like trying to understand why the stoppage in the game took place is what I don't.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know about that.
And let the game flow where a hit had been called is what I would say. And maybe they just wanted to step in, and like one of them must have been adamant. One of them must have been adamant that it wasn't a hit or something like that. But working out why the game actually had to stop for a call when a line ref has called a player out is what I'm not sure about. But
I honestly have no idea. Bruno told me that they thought like the ball went hit you from below, and they were like, it couldn't have been an air ball. I think from the stream, I've watched it on a stream, I think it's I'm very sure it didn't bounce, because it's just way too high for it to be a bounce once it hits you, and it doesn't make any like movement. I don't fault anyone for calling it or not calling it. I didn't know how the situation play out. I didn't know like that the line ref called it immediately and then they overruled it. Yeah, I think that's definitely a talk we're gonna have to, or the refs have to have, like what sort of jurisdiction everyone has and whom to trust, because it's something that happens very often, and I've seen it in the women's final as well, where one line ref was really adamant that there was a hit and everyone else wasn't. And I think it was two situations, and once they went with the line ref and once they didn't go with the line ref. And I think it's they need to make some sort of rule how to handle those kind of situations, because they are really stressful and it's impossible to see everything. Yeah,
they want to get what they believe is the right call, and I think that's their motive. Obviously, as a referee, they just want the right call to have been made, and I do think in this instance, I don't think I should have been brought back on.
So obviously Basti was very upset about it at that point. I honestly wasn't, because I didn't really see it happen. I didn't even know what happened in that situation, so I was not I had no feelings toward that, because I thought we missed you. I only afterwards, like I realized, and even when Basti told me that he hit you, I was like, I have no idea. So maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I haven't seen it.
We'll get into another shot right now that I have no idea whether it hit you or not. I'm pretty sure. Exactly. So my initial reaction is it didn't, but
obviously, so you
do you want to describe
back.
it? Go ahead.
No, so and then you guys went back. You made a 2-ball attack on us, and you made a cross on Basti, which for some reason hits him. I don't know. I think he was still very angry in that situation, because that ball never hits him ever. But I think he was still very in his head in that situation, and you just picked him off in that situation. And I was like, obviously, that's not the ideal spot to be in. And so I knew it was pretty unlikely that I would get a catch from you guys, or that I would hit you out with a ball on the backside. So I thought I wanted to like get you to counter me and pick one off and try to dodge the other one. That was basically my plan. and I was pretty sure if I run towards Smurf, he's gonna be way faster towards me. And so basically, what I did, I threw one ball and wasted it, I think, or maybe you blocked it or something, and then Smurfy ran at me, and I just closed my eyes and threw into him, and then I just fell down. I think I even looked at you, but I just went down and looked at you in that situation. Like the ball went past my chest or my head or something. It was
and Murphy's, from watching it back, bounces
exactly
so into you.
Exactly.
But
So
at the
Smurf
time,
bounces, but
at the time, I have no idea where his ball's gone. But
yeah, exactly. And I didn't either. So in that situation, I knew I hit Smurf, but I have no idea where he's bound. And he just, I think, chest passed it at me, or he threw it. I don't know.
Yeah,
and in that
classic.
situation, I just fell on the floor and I didn't feel any ball touch me. And I was like, okay, I did not feel a thing. And I had no idea where Smurf's ball was. And the ref.
I threw my ball and I sprint back as my initial action. My initial reaction is I hit the floor first.
How did you miss, Adam?
It's very, it's like bottler. It's very, very tight whether I do or not. But my initial reaction is like 99% of that ball, 99% of the ball at least. Like I smashed the ball straight into the floor. It's not a clean hit. If it does graze him, it might have. But I'm telling you, I don't think I think I floored it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I saw and felt your ball. That was just going past me, but I had no idea where the other ball went. And then the ref, I think Bruno told me that I was hit by whether I felt Smurf's ball hit me. And I was like, I didn't feel anything. And he was like, it touched you, it hit you. And I was like, I did not feel anything, but
it bounces
the thing
into
is,
you.
it hits me and it bounces into me, but I didn't feel it at all. In that situation, I was like, I think all my senses were into that shot and just falling down, and I had no idea where. So in that situation, when Bruno called the hit on me,
I just remember you laughing at me. Like you were on the floor laughing as you're like, Adam's just missed me from a meter away.
In that, but like that was such a weird situation because I was in a situation, I knew I hit Smurf and I knew I dodged your ball, but I didn't know where the other one was. And Bruno just went to me and said he hit you and that Smurf hit me. And I was like in disbelief because I didn't feel it, but also I said, okay, if he hit me, obviously it was a hit because I have no idea where that ball went and I just smashed into the floor. So obviously I didn't feel it, but that was the first time ever, I think, that a ball hit me that I didn't feel. And that was also a little bit of like a situation where I now can understand a few players when you like hit the floor or are in such a tunnel where I actually didn't feel that ball, even though it touches me on the butt or on the legs or something. I don't know where it hits me, but I literally do not feel that ball at all. And so when Bruno told me that the ball hit me, I was in disbelief, but I was more just shocked that I didn't feel that. I didn't know whether there was a bounce or anything. I just thought there was no ball hitting me. And so watching it back, I was really surprised that it hit me.
I thought they called mine to hit, but that's interesting.
No, that's what Bruno said afterwards. He said they called me out for Smurf's hit, or I don't know if it was Bruno or the other head ref. And so in that situation, I wasn't mad because I was like, okay, apparently it hit me, and I just didn't see that coming. So in that situation, I wasn't angry or I was just empty. I was like, okay, this just happened, and it really, like, losing that game was extremely heartbreaking. But for me, like, knowing that again, I for some reason, I don't know why that is such a big thing for me, but I really wanted to play England. And that was like not being in that situation because we hung to it. And I was always like, we're almost there. Then we're there. And I was like, I was completely empty. And I was like, this cannot be happening, and not in this way. So when we lost that, or we won that last set, I was like, okay, we're gonna win this. And then everything goes our way, and I'm like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. And then it is 1v2, and I'm like, okay, somehow is still going to make it. And then me lying on the floor thinking, okay, there's a chance. And then it was like, okay, no, you were out. And this just, I don't know, it just switched something off inside of me. And I was like completely empty in that moment. And that was so weird because Basti was obviously very angry, and I was not angry at all because I didn't even know whether there was something to be angry about. And I was angry on us for losing that 5v2. I was angry about that. But looking back on it, it's not even that bad because obviously slipping, and there was just a weird run of coincidences where it just happens in dodgeball that wasn't even as bad as it felt in the situation. And then watching that situation back with this like last few seconds, it when I see those last few seconds, it just breaks me again. And like I would have just loved, honestly, to have that 1v1 against you because I don't care winning or losing it. Obviously, I want to win it, but I think that would have been such an epic end to that game. That would have been so amazing. And I think that would have been like a moment for the ages to have that 1v1 and you have to play
long do you
to
think,
death.
Yeah, how long
I
do
have
you
no
think that would
idea.
have lasted?
I would hope it would have lasted for 3 minutes.
Honest, out of the three of us, who misses their block the most? It's easily me. So I'd have been under so much pressure. I miss blocks far more than, and Stefan's the king of having a ball in his hand as well. So
not the tournament. I did the catch block for the first time in my life against you.
On me.
I felt really bad about it.
Yeah.
Wow, I felt so bad in that situation. I was like, I was having flashback to Sam's shot in Oziek, where he catches me with his neck, and he's like, oh, "I got it." And I was like, "How can you feel
that was
good
the
about
one.
that?"
I was like, I'm gonna get him. I just know if I wait till the right moment and I don't look at him and I throw the ball off, that it will hit him. Like I know I'll get him once, and I pulled it off, and it just stuck.
And I felt dirty. Yeah. I felt really bad for that one. Like that was painful. This catch was the most painful catch I've ever made. I was like, because I hate it when that happens. And I'm like, you just fucking missed the block and you're celebrating. And now I'm there with a ball, with 2 balls in my hand.
2 balls.
And I have no right to have them. Wow, that felt disgusting. But then Morrison or someone caught me with his knees, and I was like, okay, touche. Yeah. That's fair.
I also, so your first point of the whole semi, I think to make it 7-1 or 5-1 or whatever it was, Schmid makes a catch on Johnny whilst holding a ball, and both me and Johnny go off for it. So I think we'd have won that by a player, and I stood there. I went out, and we ended up with a draw. So my dumbass just throwing away points. Brett, who would have won the 1v1? You have to make the call.
Jesus, who had 3 balls? Because you just threw one at him, right?
I threw one, and no one knows where Murphy's ball went, so I have no idea.
Stefan would have had 3 because he would have had to come up, and then he released 2 of them, and we released 2 back, so Stefan would still have 3.
I feel
unless Murph's bounced back.
Both be waiting for that running counter, like both getting in that little squat position, waiting for that 2-step counter.
Ooh. Standing tall for a 2-step, I'd be terrified. That would be the problem. I'd be so far down, and then
maybe
hope he misses his block. And
I couldn't possibly say. The answer would be, I think you'd still be playing now.
There's no contingency rules built in for infinite sudden death.
800,000th block in a row.
I'm really
more of attrition.
If I was a betting man, I would have not betted on myself. But I'd have been the one to break and go for something more risky.
I feel like you take it on. I feel like Stefan, you could definitely play patient.
Stefan would outlast me.
I love 1v1s because I wait till someone makes a mistake, and then you'll have to catch me.
I like it done in the first 5 seconds.
I don't.
I wasn't catching any. I caught 0 men in the whole tournament. I was definitely not going for any catches.
Yeah, that is really smart. That was basically the stupidest thing I did. I just practiced 2 years of catching, and now I couldn't dodge anymore. And my body was just reacting to going for catches, where I was like, what the fuck am I doing? but my hands just wanted to touch everything, and I was always just falling down and trying to catch something. And I was like,
Yeah.
God damn it. I knew that was a problem 2 weeks ago, and I tried to get rid of it, but I couldn't. And that was something that was really stuck in my head, and I couldn't dodge for the life of me. I was so stupid. That was something I was really pissed about. I was just couldn't get that out of my head and just dodge. It's stupid to catch in that position, but no.
Great.
I caught
Great to
Smurfy at
reflect,
least.
though.
Yeah. At least I was equal on catches against Murphy. So that is something. Yeah. Well, no. Yeah. It's like in the situation, I was just completely empty. And now looking back on it, it just hurts all over again. Like really, like losing that situation is really painful for me, because I think that would have been like a once in a lifetime situation. 1v1 between us for a final spot to play against England. That's just pure epicness.
Yeah.
And that
so good that would have been so good.
Yeah.
Like, and I think they would have to pause it and get everybody around the court as well.
Yeah.
Just like, in fact, rearrange it for the next day, like prior to the final.
Adam would just go home and study for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I wouldn't
every
sleep.
move I
There's
make.
no way.
It's like that Dracton final when I always say it would have been me v Kelvin 1v1 to decide who wins the Euros. Like, you have these things that you just think, fuck, like, why not?
Yeah. That is really, like, that's something I'm still not over. I think for the rest of I can absolutely live with it, because I think like we performed really well in the men's for like the preparation we had, and we smashed everyone except for Northern Ireland, and we didn't get smashed by you guys, and that is something I'm really proud of. And I think like it showed a lot of character, and also a lot of like how much individual skill we have in that team, because team-wise we were not as good, but for some reason we managed with some individual skill and finesse to always come back in difficult situations, and that is something that we haven't been amazing at in the past. And it's also like a testament to our depth that it doesn't rely on a few players, and everyone had their situations and had their important hits, catches, or sets, and that was really something. So like I'm really proud of the overall men's performance, and also the third place game against Wales. We were not going to lose that, and we were really just smashing them in the end, and it was never close against Scotland. So we didn't have a close game except for that one. So I have no problem losing in that fashion. I'm just really sad about the opportunity lost, and I'm just really disappointed to not get to play England one more time. So yeah, that's still something that I currently have to deal with in some minor flashes. When something gets posted on social media, it comes back in a little rush. So yeah, it gets better with time, but it's not great. But yeah, it's something we have to live with, and maybe we'll live to fight out that 1v1 another day and have it in even a better event.
Please no.
So
Yeah.
oh, damn it. That would have been so cool. I would gladly just give the win to you in that final set for it to happen. I think it would have been.
But you're thinking about it. I think I'd have been the same. I'd have just been looking around at the crowd and been like, "This is awesome," but not focused on the game enough, and then make a mistake and ruin it.
No. You couldn't have ruined it. I think either way, it doesn't matter how that plays out. It's a win for dodgeball. I think that is just and that's But so I obviously I do not blame the refs at all. I think we need to learn from that and maybe like rethink how those decisions in those situations can be made in a better way. Is there another way, if there are breaks that long, to maybe somehow insert some video evidence or something? Because like the breaks were 3 or 4 minutes long, and you can maybe do something with video assistance or something in that time. So maybe for situations like that, you have one challenge or something a game. I don't know. But it's definitely something to think about, because it's sad. I mean, I talked to Bruno about it afterwards, and he was really pained by the situation as well. And I have there is like zero. I'm not faulting anyone for that. So I don't blame you at all. So I've talked to Basti about this. I don't blame you at all for it. I
It
don't
was
blame
very
the refs.
personally, I thought it was very difficult to enjoy that win, because
Yeah,
it was just
yeah.
it's
I mean,
just I was just very unsure whether
yeah.
it should have stood at the time.
Yeah,
and that was the
definitely.
problem.
I absolutely get it. And so if I've watched back the second to last set and know that it wasn't a hit, like I watched that back and I think it's impossible to see. I wouldn't say it's a hit. But I don't think you can call it with 100 confidence that it's a block or a hit. So I think in that regard, the video isn't good enough. But I definitely believe that was a block. I never saw a hit, so I always thought
that'll be the problem with the close ones. That it's just the camera
yeah,
quality won't
you
be
need
good
better
enough
camera,
to.
but
It's
that's
just for
not a
like the
problem.
blatant ones and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that the
yeah,
challenges would be good
definitely.
for.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I don't blame anyone for that. I'm just really a little saddened and broken by how it played out. But in the end, I'm really happy about that. Yeah, let's go into that mixed semifinal if you want to. Or Brad, do you have
Yeah,
anything else to say, seeing that from an outside perspective? Did you see it or you played at the same time?
No, I saw a lot of it because the Wales match we were on simultaneously was kind of going our way. I just kept looking over and feeling like every time NI were winning a set, it was an absolute clean out, and every time you won a set, you were clawing like by a player or by something, and that's so frustrating because there's like the balance of play. You sometimes have matches where you think, right, it's 6-all, but the 3 sets we've won, we've cleaned them out 1-6 in a minute, and the 3 sets they've won, they've edged, and that gets on you because you think like we could be 12-0 up here, like what's going on? So from the side perspective, it just felt like when NI were winning, it was so clean, and when Austria were winning, they were fighting for it, they were digging deep, and they were clawing at it, and so sort of mirrors your experience really, that you guys just dug in and took them all the way. So fair play to you.
And I think it's also a bit of our playing style. Like our end game is just way more passive and giving the risk to the other side, whereas you just go and take
Finish it. Yeah,
you just finish it, and we're just not good at finishing it, so we have to do it otherwise. But we're not good enough, or we weren't good enough. Like we were really good at it at Worlds, and we were really not good this time around at it, and that bit us in the ass again in the mixed semis. So let's get over to that.
I've not even seen a minute of this footage back of the mixed semis,
I
actually.
think the mix is a good way to describe it is the game is in there's 6 men playing the game, but the previous game is definitely in the head of 4 of them, me and all 3 of the Austrians, and particularly in the first 5 sets, my other 2 boys just run over the top of Austria, and I am consistently terrible, and the Austrians aren't really quite ready for it, and we get a fairly healthy lead that we just continue and hold. I think I've listened to the start of your personal podcast, Stefan. I've listened to the mix bit where you say it kind of evens up from that point at like a 4-set lead or a 3-set lead or whatever it was, and we just go tit for tat from that moment. But it's really that first 10 minutes that won the match, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So I as soon as like the whistle blew and I knew the men's game was over, I was like, okay, fuck, I'm done, but I have to play again. So I just basically pushed it all down, and there wasn't a lot to push because it was all emptiness. So I just pushed out the air and was like, okay, here we go again. We've done it before, so it's not like a new situation. Everyone hates that situation, and we've all been in it, and it's not fun, but it's just something you live to learn with, basically, in tournament style play when you play 2 divisions. And so I felt like, okay, yeah, just continue on. But the moment that game started, I felt like our team was just not there. Like there were 3 boys that were still struggling with the prior game, and our women, we just didn't have a good mixed team this time around. And we had really good players, but none of our women trained with us because for many different reasons, and we never had the mixed practice really where the team played. And so till the end we didn't know who would be the starting six. I think it was a little bit like with England, where we tried lots of things, but up to the last game we didn't know what our starting lineup would be, and neither we did nor our coaches did, and it just felt off. And then combined with just losing that final, it was really, I felt like I mentally I was ready, and I was really like looking forward to playing another game, but still like something was just off, and it was really tough to get into that game, and not like letting your head hang down for the first silly mistake, or just getting back into that diffused mental state. And so you just, as you said, like Kareem and Johnny just waltzed over us, I think, and we couldn't do anything against it. And then once we finally, I think it was the fourth set when we went up and everything was good, and then we, for the first time ever, didn't see out the set, and Flo tried the Northern Irish way of just killing off players, which I always tell him not to.
You can't do it by yourself. I've watched,
Yeah.
like, because it's come up in dodgeball highlights. I just think he goes a
Yeah.
little bit earlier
Yeah.
than his partner, and
Exactly.
then
And it
Eve's
was
a clutch
just
catcher. And
yeah.
yeah,
And it was just
it was class.
like sort of a tilt moment, because we were down and we were not feeling it, and he just wanted to prove a point that we can finish sets as well. And yeah, that's when you make those little mistakes, and that was just a sick, perfect catch. That was absolute class. And yeah, it was a stupid mistake, but in that situation I can't blame him for it. I would have gone for it probably as well in that situation, because I think there's just some sort of mental tilt you have at that point. And then we just kept struggling on, and then finally we made some changes and put fresh players in that didn't play a lot in the men's game, and who just did way better. And actually, though, we had some chances to bring it back, but every time we had put at least one step in front of the other, something happened. And I think I got caught again in like the set where we went up, we were down 3 or 4 sets, and we finally were making progress. And then again I get caught with the legs
of Helen. Yeah.
of Ellen. I was like, okay, that's it. And at that point I pretty much lost hope after being caught in 2 different semis with knees. I was like, okay, it's not meant to be. And then pretty much after that set, I think I stepped off, and the other guys came in too late
You
in
had
hindsight.
You had a phase at the right wing, which was quite at the start of the second half, which I was like, oh, they've swapped, get the confidence. Stefan's not comfortable in front of me. But no, actually, Flo, and then even if I got Flo, Schmid would play on that side, and those two completely dominated me the whole game. Like, I would
But we
throw
were
my
actually
ball, and
we were actually
I would throw my
swapping
quite a
because
lot.
of Kareem.
Yeah, Kareem was the player, but it gave me confidence, and which I
yeah.
didn't deserve. But I was like, I threw my ball, and then I was like, oh, there's a Leidinger in front of me. You know, he's going to throw this hard ball, flat shoulder height. He's going to smash me off the court. And Flo just put it straight on my foot. I was like, oh, right, okay. He's got a different throw. I need to get used to this.
Yeah, for
It was
sure.
really,
It was
it
like
was nice.
Kareem just blasted through our right side, and no one could block him, which I haven't played a lot against him, so I don't know why that happens. But yeah, he's got a really
It's
nice
tricky.
throw, and he
The
was really
eyes.
punishing player. Yeah. And
It's the eyes
yeah,
and the body shape and knowing when he's going to do it. That's why he's so clever at it.
yeah. So I would really have preferred to play a lot more against him, because I really enjoyed it. We'll do it in the future. Maybe I have to swap wings. No, I won't. But at some point, he's going to play right side.
I think so, yeah. He will.
No, but
if you ever play him at club, he'll like he just lines himself up against the winger he wants to go against.
Nice.
Yeah, he did that to me at British Open. I was like, hey, you don't play it.
Yeah, that's definitely
super player though. Great player.
Yeah, definitely. He played amazing tournament, and he was just killing people with ball, without ball, and he's playing
He's a
way
killer.
more loose and like a little bit more selfish as well, which is not something you're used from your team, and which opens a lot of aggressiveness in some spots where you don't expect them. And so if you're not ready for it, it's super dangerous and super effective.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a talent.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Not a decline from Kelvin, I feel
No.
like.
Yeah, just like a very different player, but
Yeah.
that was just our challenge for the season of getting the most we could out of him, basically, and he did really well. So
Yeah, and you got all out of him, I think, because afterwards he wasn't really walking very good after
no,
the last game, so he got a lot
that
of
was
intense
his
playing time. Yeah,
that was his first Euros experience of having to actually play all those big games, and there was certain points where I was like pointing at him, screaming at him, "Don't you die on me! You have to play!" It's like, you are not going off. He felt it a bit, but he was good.
definitely. He had 2 games against Austria and 2 games against England and won all of them. So that's quite a resume. All right, let's get into the finals everyone's been waiting for. So start off with you, Brad. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll give you a personal view and a team view as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think the night before, I didn't play at all the day before, and I knew I could realistically maybe play one half of a final, and it definitely wasn't going to be a mixed final because you have to throw in mixed. You have to be busy. You have to have an arm. You have to actually throw, and no amount of fakes or deception or one steps are going to actually get you where you need to be. And so I'd made the decision on the night before to say to the coaches that I can't play mixed. I'm going to go all in on men's. I very helpfully got some industrial strength painkillers from the girlfriend of Dan Evans, who had something very, I don't know, illegal perhaps. So good job there were no WADA testing this time for those drug tests. So yeah, I took some industrial strength painkillers, got a lovely massage on the morning from Nick, and really the plan was just to disrupt as much as possible in the first half of the men's final, keep Adam guessing whether or not I was going to play or whether I was capable of playing. And I think I hit him early on with a pre-throw, and I think maybe at that stage you were thinking, hey, he's fine. I maybe got a post on Sam and was thinking, but I was in no question that I was in an immeasurable amount of pain. And I think we got to 10-6 at the half, and it was a really controlled first half for England. Like, we had opportunities in front of us that we normally go for, and we sort of held for 3 balls, and we went as a team. Frustrating personally. I feel like I had a few opportunities to take and I couldn't. So I think it was a slow first half but controlled. Found ourselves 10-6 up at the half. I then offered to come off because I think I couldn't offer any more at that stage. And one of my teammates was like, why would you come off? It's 10-6, it's working. And there's never a good time to come off, is there? If you come off when you're leading and you lose, then everyone goes, why did you change your winning tactic? If you come off once it's too late, then perhaps you should have made changes earlier. So we stayed with the same team that was doing really well. Dan Evans was exceptional first half, absolutely exceptional. Nathan Christopherson exceptional the entire match. Jamie, fantastic first half. Finn as well. Dan obviously was the real standout player for the first half. Kareem then massively figured him out in the second half, and he had the better of that situation. And Dan was good enough to say, look, take me off for a set or two and then get me back on because it's not working at the moment. And that's when I think we lacked the depth to change things. I think if we were able to bring on Arnie, or if I was fit and I was able to come on, or if I was able to play at a better level, we'd have been absolutely fine to carry on. But we didn't really have the depth that really enabled us to push on. Really strange one. Like, normally I'm pretty tactically astute at what goes wrong in dodgeball and look back and go, this is what went wrong. But this is one of the weirdest finals because I just look back and go, I don't really know what went wrong. And I just racked up 4 or 5 sets in a row, and it didn't feel like we were doing anything obviously wrong. It wasn't a possession issue. It wasn't going for too many catches. You just seemed to edge all the moments that you needed to edge in that second half, and nothing. That's kind of more frustrating than pointing to a point where you go, look, we're giving away 4 balls, or we could do, like, none of that was happening. And then I think I subbed off when it got to 14 all and we got level. I thought, let's try something different now. Steve came on both wings and wasn't able to make the impact we wanted him to straight away. And I think, Adam, you hit him fairly early on that wing. So yeah, frustrating. Like, I look back and think we did a lot of good things, and I do think if we'd had a few other players fit and a few players available, we probably could have pushed on to 12-6 or 14-8, something like that. But it's just massive credit to NI. They just continually plug away and they continually just do the right things, and eventually it comes off. So that was kind of my perspective. Frustrating. Like, I hate losing finals, but also when you're not fully fit, you can only be so frustrated. Like, I'm gutted for the team, but like, I wasn't gutted because I was more gutted I wasn't able to play in the way I was hoping I could. Oh,
Okay, and that's the moment Adam's lost. He's heard all he needs.
yeah.
Brad is gutted. Brad is frustrated. Adam leaves the chat. He
I think-
has got everything he needs. No, but honestly, I watched it back, and like as you said, there was like this in the first, especially in the first half. I was really impressed, like how controlled you played the game, and that
We
you
had
really
to.
played out sets. Yeah, you absolutely had to, but that was really for the first time that I've seen England play that way, or that England ever had to play that way, and it felt sort of strange to see it from your guys, like throwing waste shots in certain situations. I was really confused by a lot of that, and
Yeah.
it seemed a little awkward in some situations, but still I was quite impressed, and I thought that was something you would take away from Worlds, that you need a little more control in those kind of situation.
Yeah.
And I think there's still probably a lot of potential there, but it felt really scary to see you play that controlled in the end,
there were two sets in the first half. It was so alien to us, but we were skimming the ball a millimeter off the floor and just sorting out the set, and you think like, hey, who's this?
Yeah, that was really, I was like, are we wearing white on a
Yeah.
Sunday? This is weird. Yeah, but yeah, I think like in the first set you were actually the more structured team in the end, and so I think like a third or fourth set were, and I almost gave away a set because they were playing a bit more aggressive and a bit more loose. But in the end, I think like we always talked about your depth, and you have that depth, but even your team is really relying on some key players, and you lost 2 wing players, and you have 12 more incredible players, but it still showed that there was like just a tiny bit of quality lacking. And as you said, there was not really like the big mistakes, but still the overall quality of NI was just better over 40 minutes. And that was something that was really, really new to see, because in the past, either they smashed you because they just ran up so hard and then it wasn't really a game, or it was really close and maybe more like at Worlds where it was a whole nother situation, but there were lots of mistakes deciding the sets. And here it felt like it was really a very balanced game, and every team was making really good decision and really high execution as well. And the better team won the sets. And so
it
I
felt
think
slower than like Dracton when we played them in the final. In Dracton, that felt like a million miles an hour. That just felt like it was at this pace. So I think it was a slower game, more controlled. But I think you're right. Like, we have the 2 to 5 positions. We could probably play any version of players, but I think we all know, like, the wing positions, you just need something like extra there. And I think had we like played that half and then brought on Tamas or Arnie, or if I was fit, I think we would have pushed on to be more aggressive, to go 14-8, 16-8. But we only had the sort of style that we had, and I think you guys ultimately are better at that long term, Adam. We weren't able to flip the switch on you.
Yeah, you guys have kind of summarized it in the same way I view it. I will add that we were pleased at halftime to only be two sets down. I think that very easily could have been 3, and there was probably a world where it could have been 4. So our kind of message at halftime was, look, we have not played at our potential in that first half. We didn't play anything that we would call well, and the message was just, we can't play that bad again for another 20 minutes. Like, it's just like, like don't think about it. You just won't. We will not. We'll like make minor adjustments on a few of the just decision making stuff, not really mistakes, but just like execution errors or things like that. And so yeah, we knew the performance would go up into the second half, and I think you called it out, Brett, that you guys weren't really making mistakes either. You guys were pretty clean. It's just over the 40 minutes. Then, as Stefan said, we just executed slightly better than you guys for the full 40 minutes. That making the initial hit, I would say, in the set turned to our favor. Just maybe having more experience, more used to the guys we're playing with, and how we find that initial single ball, and maybe like your initial single ball became a little bit more of a like, I need this to hit. I hope this hits in the last few sets, rather than rating the movement and things like that from your other players. And just the partnerships weren't as gelled as ours, and those sort of patterns. In terms of like things that we had to change, we made obviously the one personnel change for Peter, who honestly was fantastic the whole tournament. He deserved to play 100%. There was absolutely no doubt he was on that team sheet. It just didn't happen for him in the final. Dan Evans just had a heat-seeking missile, and Peters couldn't get out of the way of it in that second half. And then that was making Kareem feel like he had to respond constantly, and we weren't actually getting to reset enough or make our own decisions. The trigger point was a Dan release into a Kareem counter far too often, with Kareem not actually hitting the mark. And that was probably our one pattern that happened in the first half that wasn't working. So that had to change. And obviously it did, because Kareem did start getting the better over Dan and being a little more patient on his release, and then catching him out with a few sneaky shots and just waiting.
He timed him better, didn't he? He timed him.
Yeah.
And I think that
way more patient.
And I think that for Dan was the pressure of it had to be him, because when we play for Meteors, we probably split 50% of the hits each, or he'll probably edge more. But if he's not hitting, I'm hitting. If I'm not hitting, he's hitting. But he kind of knew it was so reliant on him getting the hits, because we didn't have the firepower from the wings. And I think, had we had that sort of firepower from the left wing, I probably would have called a few more lefts. I felt like the cross court to Kareem was open. It was so open, but my shoulder wouldn't go there. It just
my arm couldn't do it.
I think we did one, and it went through his legs. Actually, I don't know if you remember that. It literally went through through his feet.
Did he react to it, or
it just went through him?
Just went
and
through.
And then that was the point where I was like, right, I'm coming off now, because I want someone to explore that, and it never quite happened.
Yeah, well, there's not many that can do it like you two, to be honest. That 6-6 cross court.
But you guys you give us a constant 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, and you came good. I thought Josh was really good when he came on.
He just stabilized the game. You just know he's not going to make mistakes. You know he's going to speak when he's on court, and you're just going to follow instructions. And has always been stabilizing on court. Like, I'll get heated and things like that, and other players will raise the temperature will go up a little bit. But
it was a fun match. I didn't think it was decisions. It wasn't super fun. I felt it was quite. I think of Dracton was an unbelievably fun match, and I think of some of the matches we've had in the past. I felt this was a dodgeball purists game rather than a spectators game. Like the purists would have been like, I'm appreciating this, but maybe a neutral would be like, could we have a bit more? There wasn't many individual moments. Many, like Jamie made a catch from his knees. That was fun. Yeah.
The Jamie catch was nice. Yeah.
But like crazy moments, there were not many of them. And I think it's funny, because a year ago I probably came on this podcast and said we need to develop our slow game, and now I'm like, we need to find our aggressive game again.
Yeah, but that really is the balance, and I think I'm definitely a purist when it comes to that, and I really enjoyed it, and I felt like those minor details were so important in that game. Like, I felt in the first half there was also like sort of a disconnect on NI's players, where sometimes Kareem was just so overly aggressive and no one else was really there to follow it up. And there were, I think, two situations, or one where you made a post throw on, I don't know, was it Sam or
I got
Johnny?
Sam on the post.
Yeah. And I think Adam, it was you against him, and you were just way too far back, and where there was no pressure at all. And but the whole situation started because Kareem made something that wouldn't happen usually in your game or something like this. And I felt like that dynamic in that game was really weird. And obviously, then having that really strong half, it felt like Kareem had to try to do a lot to counter that. And then in the second game,
That's what I
second
was
half,
gonna
you
Exactly.
say.
got way more into that cohesive structure again and really played as a unit and just found
Oh,
my internet again.
oh, he's
I'm
back. He's
back,
back.
but
Yeah,
I
no, I
just
agree.
kept talking anyways. Yeah, but I think so. So for that, it was like a really tactically really nice game, and it was like
Yeah.
really structured, great, clean dodgeball. But as you said, like Drachten, I remember watching that game from the outset and being like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, that was just pure craziness, and that was
Yeah.
to a level that we don't play. And we were like, okay, we cannot play that game. That is just sicko dodgeball and just hyper aggressive hits, hyper aggressive catches, hyper everything was just in the middle. And this was more of two teams
Yeah.
playing chess against each other, which I really enjoy. But I think, yeah, there's a place for both, and I think that's actually why NI is so good, because they have both. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
we have the structured part, and you have the fire part, and now we're trying to do a little bit of the other, but we're not as good at it yet. And I is more in between and has both, sort of has it figured out more because they're just more of a team.
Yeah.
And that, at least at the moment, that's working.
But I think you're absolutely right. But it's amazing how things change quickly. Like probably a year ago, you got off to a what 8-0, 10-0 lead against NI in Graz. Like things change really quickly, and that's the beauty of the
Yeah, but the
sport.
thing is, like, I think we talk about this quite sometimes, and like Max and I, we have like the metaphor. If we play, if like the top teams play, and if we play NI 10 times, then we say we're gonna win maybe 4, maybe 3, maybe 5, and they win the other ones. And maybe one of those games is a blowout. Most
Right.
of those games are gonna be really tight. Some of them gonna be 3 sets. Some of them gonna be 1 set. And every once in a while, you're gonna have a blowout. And that, like the one in Graz, was one where everything went in our favor. And every set, it didn't matter whether we had the upper hand or not. In the end, everything went in our favor, and we just, it didn't matter. We made the right decision in the end, and you made just silly mistakes, to be honest.
That's
So,
the
Yeah.
beauty of
and
sport, though.
yeah, but that was not like, the level was not never that far apart. And in Osijek again, it was a really close game where you were just slightly better, and a few things didn't happen for us, and so it was a clean but close win for you guys. And this time, actually, you were better, but I think that was one of the games where, even though you were the better team in terms of dodgeball, we were just grinding sets and getting to base basically, and just getting our points, but we never played amazing dodgeball. We just, our every set we won was fought, and you, if you win a set, you just clean up. And so it looks much cleaner, but in the end, it's just our different way of ending sets, which makes it seem so different in some situations. But I think it equals itself out over 40 minutes, and then even more over many more games. So I think that was definitely the anomaly in Austria. And
Interesting.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think any three of us have ever played and had a blowout over each other really. Like I think it's always been close.
I've been on the receiving end of one at a Graz. That's
Well,
Yeah,
that
and
that is the one.
but I don't know. I don't know. I've never left feeling like, I mean, a team's untouchable. I leave and feel like we can work on this, we can work on that, and they were better at this on this day. But I always feel like the three of us within our teams have always got the potential to maybe do it on the day. I've never left thinking like that's something we've never seen before. Actually,
yeah,
this was quite a nice. I had a real like personal insight into like just having a much calmer mindset on court because I had to have a calmer mindset on court. Like when you're unable to play aggressive because you're restricted, you are much calmer on a surface level, and you're able to bring that control to the team. So like everything's a bit of a learning curve, I guess.
I thought there was something else coming.
No, sorry.
Sorry. But yeah. Okay, so let's get a little bit into the mixed game as well. What was the difference between the mixed and the men's game, you feel like, Adam? Because they played pretty similar.
We were leading at
Yeah,
half time.
this is yeah. This is yeah, it's a similar story of England setting themselves out well with good strategy. We didn't know who was going to play in the men's. There was no point really making a prediction. I think we could assume that Finlay would play a part just because he's had so much form over the last season, and yeah, again he did play well. But I think Jack Leach was. I don't think like any of us would have predicted that he would have had as many minutes as he did. And he certainly has a problem that you have to solve in his very unique way of playing. But I would say that playing England, this mixed team that we played was a lot different to how we played you at Worlds. It was very different to a lot of mixed games I played, to be honest. And like, the only way I can describe it is that England played so aggressively from Finlay and Jack at the start. They would take one and a half steps forward at all times, and they'd be playing so high, which is so applying pressure with the ball up high, constantly throwing fakes. I was like, this was very unusual for a mixed game where normally the man would sit a little bit deeper and maybe let a ball go at a woman and just hope that they're not going to get away with it, or that the woman will dodge it, or if the man overcommits at trying to put the girl out on the back line that the post throws on and things like that. England didn't let us do that, and it actually resulted in the first couple of sets, us feeling like we couldn't get to the final attack line and throwing a bit earlier from like just beyond the halfway line or even the halfway line itself, and ended up getting caught multiple times in the first half. Lauren Hems, I think, takes 4 in the whole match. Jintari catches me as well in a very good highlight where she juggles it a good few times. But like I always felt like we were taking the shots at the backline players not close enough to them, which meant we had to just attack their men. And I felt like England were very heavily attacking our men as well. But like normally you kind of want to maybe chip away at somebody, reset, get a winger when they overexpose. There was a lot of having to throw the ball at ball in this game just due to the actual general position of where the English men took, which I thought tactically was quite good and did cause us a lot of problems. So yeah, I really liked it, and that's just tactically what I wanted to point out and observe. I think that Finlay did, particularly in the first half, a very good job on me. He got his sniper rifle out and found my toe on numerous occasions. Very frustrating for me. So really in the first half, the best I could do was find trades with him, which I was happy enough to do if it was the best outcome. Which meant we really had to win it down the other side in the first half. And again, we weren't quite on. Kareem's going again too early in that first half towards Jack, and it wasn't quite connecting. And you were just having the better of it. I think Alex Harrison had a very strong first half as well, where most of his shots were landing, and gave you quite a comfortable lead. Again, the message was we're happy to only be 2 sets down here. I would say in that game we probably deserved to be 2 sets. I think the scoreline was reflective. 3 would have been maybe harsh, and 2 would have been maybe harsh on you. So it felt like exactly where it should be. But I think, and we've touched on the fitness and the fatigue of wingers having to go the distance, with Jack and Finn playing an awful lot, and he's then bringing on Steve, who was good for one set. He won his a set by slamming through Johnny, but then maybe wasn't quite as effective as he needed to be from that point on, and then just running out of options. So like both Alex and Nathan did well in the middle, but the wings were kind of dependent on the same people, and they got tired. And you'll watch the number of post throughs I start to make goes through the roof, as just the guys decision making on when to throw was just becoming a lot more readable for me and Kareem in particular. And it felt like England in the second half couldn't get to the line themselves without losing a man almost instantly. And so yeah, just the digging in from the first half kept us in it. And then like in the end, I know that went to the last set, to be honest, didn't it? But it did. I always felt like we were going to turn that one. It felt like we were doing pretty well, and we were making catches. Sarah, Eve, both made catches again. Helen and Kareem as a combination, or Helen and Johnny as a combination, I don't think missed a 4-ball. So I think you would tend to try and hold the ball. If you had one ball, you'd hold it with me and Murphy in front. So you're challenging our left-hand side to make a hit with the boy-girl pairing, which is usually slightly tougher, but I don't think we missed that very often. We were usually taking a man for it. So just our execution on stuff again was slightly above yours in the second half, and got us, I think, a deserved win despite the halftime deficit.
Yeah, I agree. Very similar story. I thought, the Jack Finn combo first half really good pressure. Again, like, it makes you think, if we had other options, would we change it? Probably not. You don't change something that's winning. But there was a moment where I thought it just needs refreshing now, and I think second half we just got we just couldn't seem to go a player up. Like, you seem to go one man up every single time, and I think we got massively obsessed with throwing at ball and throwing at the men on ball. I think credit to you guys, you started to figure out the wingers, and so they panicked a bit and threw at the ball, which is a wasted throw. And I sort of said in the timeout, like, just get a girl out, get two girls out, get 6-4 up, get 6-5 up, like, make Adam and Kareem have to do something to turn the set around, because at the moment they're having it all their way. It's like 6-5 up, 6-4 up, and then you guys are too good there to give it away. So my feedback was, take an early hit on one of the girls, get one or two players up, and make Adam Kareem have to overcommit or make a mistake somewhere. But I've not watched it back, but it felt like second half you just led every set from the first hit, and I think that was where we went wrong. I think you're right. Steve came on, had a super set, and then after that, like, his main attribute is a ball in hand, and he threw it way too early on Kareem. The pre-throws left him too exposed, left him without his biggest asset. So I think he was just struggling. It's hard to come onto a final when the game's warm already.
Yeah, big time.
And
big time.
I think, again, ideally we probably at level sets would have brought on me and Arnie there, but it just wasn't a possibility. And I think you guys, you're like an AI machine that figure out what you're against quite quickly, and you adapt very well. And I think, we just ran out of steam at the end. And I think, you're probably right. You did deserve it, but very similar story to the men's, really.
Yeah. I have nothing to add to that. That's the way I sort of saw it from the outside as well. And I think, like, I was really impressed.
Both very good games. I really enjoyed that mix.
We know you have a really
a
strong
fun challenge of playing against a different style.
I'm just gonna keep talking anyway.
Oh,
yeah, he was about to make a really great point, I'm sure.
I think he's going to questions now.
I think so.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here, or here again. But the thing is that one thing really impressed me in the win, in the mixed game, was again your women, because my internet is.
We can't quite hear you at the moment.
I'm not gonna talk.
I heard
my internet
our
is
women
gone at the moment, but maybe I'm back. So I'm just gonna switch off my video again.
Back. Yeah, here we go.
Maybe it's better without the video. The one thing I wanted to add was, like, your women again impressed me really in the mix, because we played them in the women's and there was nothing there, basically. That was so weird. Like, that was obviously our best game, but we never beat anyone to 0, I think. And we beat you guys in the quarterfinals, the women's. And it felt like everything we did went right, and like there was no pressure and nothing that went against us, and I was really confused by that, to be honest. And then in the mix, this was a complete different picture, and it seemed like your women exactly knew what to do and went for the right catches, went for the right dodges, and just made such an impact in the semi and in the final, because it wasn't easy to hit them out, because we tried to just get ahead and take out 2 or 3 women, but it just wasn't there, and they were just dodging out of the way and making the occasional catch and making some really clutch catches as well. And that was really impressive.
They were absolutely fantastic. The last time we played Euros, none of those women started as well, so that is I think Sarah came on in that other final that we won back in Drachten, but a fresh starting team of women, which is a testament to how they've progressed. They obviously are really disappointed with their women's performance. I guess we'll just touch on it. It just didn't happen for them. They had a couple of good sets early on against England, and then it just kind of spiraled and it couldn't get anything. And then didn't really turn up again in Austria or the France game in their playoff. Just not a tournament for them. And their talisman is Shannon, and Shannon was restricted to the coach's box rather than being on court. And they just looked to her as the leader, and they found it tough. But they'll take learning from it. And I guess in the mixed, maybe they still have me as the overall leader of that team, and maybe the boys primarily make the calls rather than the women in our mixed team. It left them. Maybe that just simplifies their game a little bit, and they knew the right things to do a little bit more, or maybe just didn't doubt themselves as much potentially. Obviously I wasn't on court with them, but I'm sure they'll have a bit of an inquest and a personal reflection and evaluation themselves of what went wrong in the women. But yeah, they were absolutely fantastic in the mixed, and hats off to them. So they know they're talented players. They just have to. It just didn't happen for them in their own category.
Yeah, for sure. But that was like the confidence they sent out in the mixed game was immense. That was really good. Like, it wasn't fun throwing at them, and you really had to aim, and you could really see their readiness. And they made, again, like, I think that highlight catch in the final from what's her name?
Eve again.
Yeah.
Eve Turkington.
Yeah, like just dropping the ball in that situation, just fully committing to that catch, and the catch against Flo. Those are such, not just high quality catches, but just high IQ catches, because that is just such a split second decision, and to not just commit for it, but really make the right decision in that split second takes a lot of readiness. And that was just, but I was really surprised by that in the mixed semi, and also in the final.
She's been fantastic lately.
Yeah, she was great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You can't believe it was the same women that played in the women's. It was almost like they were different players. It was
completely
a credit to them. And obviously, shout out to our women as well in the mix. They're the constant, because they were unbelievable.
Excellent. They were so good.
You don't lose due to anyone, but we certainly didn't lose due to the women. I thought they were exceptional. And obviously I won't reflect too much on the women's final because it's not my place to do so, but it was a similar story of leading at halftime, not winning. So the women's squad were unbelievable, and such a talented team. I think they almost have too much talent. They could play two versions of teams, and they could play a mix of players, and you can look at that subs bench on the women's and go, well, why aren't those six on? And you can look at the starting six and make the same argument. So it's a tough job being the women's coach, deciding who to play. And well played to them.
You should try an ice hockey lineup, maybe.
Yeah, we should. we should. But yeah, I won't reflect on that. That will be for another woman another day.
Yes, someone else is gonna
come
on the pod for that one. All right, so I think we're gonna go. Yeah, no. If you have something to add.
No, nothing to add.
Okay. So if we're gonna go into some listeners' questions, and we're gonna start the first one with Josh, because we've talked about him already. So he says, name a player outside NI, Austria, England who would add value to your national team. I start with you, Brad.
Ooh. Great question.
That's a cool question, Josh.
A player
always
outside
with the great questions.
NI, Austria, England who would add value to your national team. So many options. There's just I mean, obviously from the home nation, someone like Scotty, fantastic. And when he doesn't have to do so much heavy lifting, I feel like he could be even better.
But he would be skinny.
Yeah, he would.
He would look like Adam.
I mean, I feel like I have to pick someone from one of the French team. Obviously, French Jesus. What a great player. But actually, and this is my fault for not knowing all of their names. But one of the lads playing for the French mixed team, he was sort of dodging on his knees and arching his back all the way flat.
I think
and
it's Onassis. I think is his name. Onassis.
what's his first name?
Played the mixed. Yeah, he played.
Yeah.
His surname.
Curly
He was like number
fries.
20. He was number 26.
Yeah,
That's all
like-
I remember. But yeah, he was
I'd
fantastic.
take any of the French because they're young, fit, and athletic. I'll take Scotty, and yeah, I'll take, who else have we got? Take Tim Day back because we used to have him.
Ah. All right, you get 3 players apparently. Adam, he's just looking up players now. He's got
Yeah,
a list.
well, I'll go home. I'll take a home nation pick. I think the player I'm most impressed with, I think, is Adam English on the Welsh team. I think he would fit straight into NI. He's fast, he's nippy, he full of energy, up and down the court constantly. He played fantastic against us. He's also left-handed, I think,
Yeah.
and I would love a left-hander in my team. I think it just adds a little bit something extra. I think Dupuis, the French winger, I think he's number 1. He actually plays the other side to
4, I
Chad.
think.
But yeah,
What's his first
but
name?
yeah, but that's Raphael Dupuis.
Oh, he's
I
good.
thought,
Yeah,
I thought he was excellent.
really good.
I thought he was actually doing so much damage, particularly in that 3rd place mixed
Yeah,
game.
I think that's the guy I had in mind. He was class.
And women's wise, let's see. For the mixed team, who do I like? Yeah, I'll probably just go into France again and take what's the captain name?
Oh
Natalie.
yeah,
Pauline
lefty.
Natalie.
Ah,
Pauline Natalie.
you don't
yeah.
get her. I'll
Yeah,
take
lefty
Natalie
again,
for
but
my mixed team.
yeah, but just her ability, her timing on the trades with men,
yeah.
she just like her fake's really good. It's like Stefan style fake, but she can do it with not a lot of women can like roll the shoulder like that and keep grip of the ball. She puts so many men out in the neutral zone.
We actually had a
yeah,
rule
look, I
in
haven't played against
in
her,
the
but I
3rd
look
place
forward to
game.
it.
We had a rule: if you trade with her, you pay 10 euros. And I had to, and she's sort of like my kryptonite. We joke about it often because I always love playing against her, and I really always try her out. And I know I always put myself into dangerous positions and always lose and always get traded
Yeah,
up.
her
But
timing
I have
is
so
just
much
looked
fun
excellent.
against it because she's the only women player who actually, if you fake at her, she just commits. So she fakes at the same time, and every other woman on the planet takes a step back or makes some sort of reaction,
Yeah.
and she just reads it and just goes through it and hits you out in that situation. And she always, if you fake, she makes a step forward, and then you're just lost. And I always try to figure her out, and I pay for it dearly. But this time I actually got the better of her and traded and hit her out first with a 2-handed throw, and I was already really happy about it. And then the ref just said it was a trade, which it wasn't, and I had to pay 10 euros for it, but it was still worth it. But yeah, okay. So Adam and Natalie, those are great options. I would have probably chosen the same because I actually traded with Adam his shirt because he was the only one who gave me a headshot the whole Euros with his left-handed.
Oh, he got me with a headshot too on a leap of faith.
Yeah.
I wasn't very happy with it at the time, but I have
Obviously.
watched it back and I think it is fine. So
Yeah, it's
apologies
definitely
for
fine.
my
A
annoyance.
headshot suicide is always fine because just turn away if you don't want to eat it. But that, so Adam Scotty, I would definitely pick Scotty as well. Otherwise, his mom would be really disappointed with me. And on that side, probably also from the Italian guys. I mean, they really. Oh no, I'm gonna take Alex Rockers' favorite player, Hübner, non-injured, and just let him throw. He's just like the new Giseli. He's just
Nice.
an arm, and you just point him at people. I like players who I can just point at people, and they take them out for me. So, and definitely Natalie from the French team as well. Dupuis as well. So there are so many good players at this point. So you could make a lot of quality teams with those players. And they do. So we're going to go right into the next question from Luke Nemeskeri. How did the NI team dynamic and play style feel after Kareem replaced Lee? Good question again.
Yeah, great question. I would say that Kareem brings a lot of athleticism and speed and court pressure, and allow him to like press out from the left hand side a little bit more. Whereas Calvin's more like a little bit more like Brett, where he's deadly from inside that corner and he can hit you from anywhere. And if you want to release in front of him, you better know where his ball and his hand is, because there's a good chance he was going to put you out, and his like 2-step was probably the best I've seen. So you lose that a little bit, and then I guess my stance was that I need to absorb a little bit more of that into my game and be the one that presses out from the corner less. And just allow maybe Kareem to take the first couple of steps, or whoever it is down that left hand side to do more of these the pressure and the running, and get on top of the opposition a little bit more. And I then tried to work on post throwing and pre-throwing a little bit more and get those as to the highest ability they could be, to try and get some of those numbers that Kelvin would have had. And that's kind of the style, I would say. It was just changed my role as a winger a little bit, to then allow Kareem to do his strengths.
Okay, so you don't have to do as much running anymore, which is good.
Yeah,
so you can
exactly.
just relax in your corner.
I'm a more senior player than Kareem, so if I tell him to run, he has to run. Whereas
completely fair. Completely agree
Calvin
with that.
Calvin was not gonna do my running for me.
Definitely not. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, Marco Ross, thoughts on how to broadcast dodgeball? What angles, cameras, on-screen info? And maybe I start with this one, because I think like the quality of streaming really lacked this time. Obviously, there were lots of reasons for that, and most of them were budget-wise. But GoPros are just not up for the task anymore. And I think obviously we need to stream as many games as possible, but those streams are almost worthless in my opinion. And I think like luckily Max brought his one good camera with him, because the GoPros got lost on the way and just arrived a week after the tournament. So at least we got caught one in good quality, which was nice. But it was still one angle and not more than that. And so on the last day, we obviously had the broadcasting team, which was awesome, but still you could really see that they didn't know what dodgeball was. And so like their cuts in between were sometimes not like shining the best light on the sport, I would say. So I think like the way I think still up to this point, the best broadcasting was the final games and semifinals in Austria, because we actually had a production company that knew what dodgeball was and had multiple angles. And I think what is really important are those slow-mos in between to like keep the waiting time or the mob time or the set time and stuff like that, to keep that entertaining. What I think was really amazing this tournament was the commentating. That was just absolute class.
100%.
So Bruce and Chris were amazing. Also Wilkie and stuff. And again, Ben is gonna punish me if I don't say his name. So Ben, you were also really great, and so as well. So all the commentators were really good, but the camera work still needs a lot of improvement. And I think maybe in the future, if we don't have the budget, we need to focus on less games, but just more quality, because we got a lot of dodgeball content and the rest can be filmed by teams themselves or stuff like that. I don't know, but the one angle is just really not great for dodgeball, and it doesn't make it feel as athletic and as fast-paced as it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, nothing to add. I'm happy with that.
I don't have strong opinions. You sound like you've had more conversations about broadcasting than I ever have had, in fairness. Didn't actually realize that it wasn't as the same camera quality as Worlds, so fair enough. Obviously the better quality, the better viewer experience, so I'd be definitely an advocate of upping that. But yeah, I have to add commentary. I think it's just the experience, guys actually dedicating some time and wanting to improve as commentators, and you can really see it shining through. Big shout out to Brew as well. I think he's excellent. I listen to the Super League streams all the time, and he's always on practicing and getting that experience. And from Euros, hopefully he'll have learned some stuff from Chris as well, who's a very experienced commentator, and we'll be able to get build some teams and partnerships and rapport of people commentating. It'll just make a better experience for viewers.
Brett has just raised
I
a hand.
I just saw. I didn't mean to do that.
You're just playing with the icons.
I don't know how that happened. Nothing.
Okay,
I
Brett's
thought it was
getting
like
bored.
I thought it was like an objection
No,
hand,
Yeah.
and you were going to be
I
like,
second it. I second it. Yeah, I second it.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Then we have a question from Vicky Barclay. Injuries. Do you think various injuries on England prevented them from taking gold? I mean, you probably pointed on that in previous.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's arrogant to say that just the injuries prevented gold, because we've had full fit teams before and not one. So it's not fair to say the teams we've lost to are so good that there's absolutely no reason they wouldn't have won. If I was playing fully fit, Tamas was playing fully fit, Arnie was playing, everyone was playing unbelievable, it still wouldn't necessarily be enough. So no, easy to blame injuries. Yes, I'd love to say we would have won, but too easy to blame that, and not fair on the quality of the opposition, who inevitably raise their game to whatever's in front of them and probably would get through it. So no, in short.
All right. Good. Then Deej Geman, so Leon from Netherlands, I don't know what kind of name he has on Instagram, is, hi guys, who are the best 3 players at this moment in your opinion? Okay. Adam.
Thanks
I'm
for
not
going
going to
to Adam
answer
first.
that. I'm just putting Adam on the spot here.
Nice work.
Yeah,
It's his podcast.
they are
He's going to take
they're
responsibility.
Johnny Hill, Florian Leidinger, and Dan Koenig.
Dan Koenig. What a legend! 2016 Paris.
Well,
You ever played Dan Koenig, Adam?
Uni champs.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so once back in the 3.
You think I'm a hothead? Then you meet him.
so
Is he? No, I don't know him personally, but I just thought it'd be funny.
Yeah,
to
that's
name
good.
the brothers.
love it.
Well, Johnny obviously won MVP. I think Johnny could be the best player in the world when he's at his absolute prime, because I think he can do everything. He's fast. He's got a massive throw. He can hit anybody. He can play wing. He can play middle. He can catch out of 1 ball. He can catch out of 2 balls. So I think he was a deserved MVP for that final. Played really well. I assume we have to leave ourselves out of this for ego reasons. One from each squad then. I think Finn was England's best player. And I know Dan had the best half, but I would say that Finn over the course of the season and the tournament was very good. I highly rate him. And Austria. So the player that's been impressing me lately is Schmid Java. Is it Java Schmid?
Xava. It's just Xava, but
Xava.
Xava. Like KS, but it's X.
X. Okay. Xava. That's my one attempt at it. Apologies. He impresses me because he's just like the biggest player on court, but can squeeze himself into the smallest of positions so consistently, blocks the ball so well, has started being able to take catches. I think he probably made more catches than any Austrian man in that semi. Really good, and threw particularly well. Broke my block a couple of times in that mixed semi. So that's who I would choose. And I guess that's probably a little biased to players closer to the left-hand side of your teams, because I'm playing in front of them a little bit more. But that's who I'd say.
That's a fair selection.
I'm gonna.
And women. I will give women first. Full bias, and not even full bias, because I think it's fact. I think Shannon is definitely, if not top 1, top 3 in.
Why are you
European
blinking
dodgeball.
so
She
fast? What's going on, Adam? Adam is having a seizure right now.
There's a reflection in his glasses. It's Shannon.
Yeah.
Are you fine? What is that gun on the side? Who's pointing a gun at you?
I know. I'm telling them.
It's fine.
I think she would get into both England and Austria. That's my opinion. So that just shows her quality.
Yeah. And that's the
and
3
then
you're going to pick.
I do think Lisa.
It's Shannon, and Shannon from
Am I
every
allowed
team.
to pick? Yeah, exactly. And then I've always been a big fan of Lisa Leachfried.
Insane player.
Is absolutely crazy good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's maybe Shannon's peer. Call them top two.
Nice.
Ooh, dangerous. She left the room? Are you safe, Adam?
For now, yeah, for now.
That's fine. All right.
I'm going to go Kareem currently. I thought he was unbelievably good. I like that he plays with the youthful aggression and kamikaze-ness that comes with youth and isn't being reined in too much. And I think that's a brilliant way to play. He reminds me a lot of myself, actually, the way he plays. And I
Aw.
flipping love it. So yeah, I'm going to stick Kareem there.
The man's downloaded every available footage of you throwing a ball. He's trying to steal it all.
Good for him. Good for him. So yeah, going to stick Kareem there. Yeah, I agree with Schmidt or Zaba. I think he's a blueprint for big players on how you can still be effective. So I agree with that. And yeah, Dan, obviously playing with him at club level, he's just when he's on it, he's unplayable, and he's getting, he's got great consistency and he's getting even better. So big things for him. So I'll stick those three for men's. And then, yeah, Lisa, obviously, for the women's is exceptional. And then we've got some fantastic women for England. Imi, shout out to Imi. I think she's just a great all-rounder. Love the way she plays. And to be honest, could name any of the women's squad, but I'm not as well clued up, so I won't make a fool of myself.
Fair enough. All right, so we're gonna go with. I think all of your picks are great picks. I'm gonna go with Sam because I'm just absolutely impressed. As you said, a big guy in the middle, and the way Sam handles his body is just ridiculous. The way he is so like efficient with his movement, like his dodges are like the most minute movements ever. He's just on his tippy toes and setting his body right, and then just against us, he took endless catches and making hits. And like I was really impressed the first time I played against him in Osijek, and this time he was even better. And like for a middle player to have such an impact, that was really impressive in that game. Obviously, Kareem, Johnny were amazing. I think you could pretty much take pretty much anyone on that NI team. From England, I would say I'm probably going with Finn as well, even though I didn't see a lot of England this tournament. And I saw the first half of Dan only retrospectively on video, which was an amazing half because I only saw the second half live where Kareem had the better of him, and I was like, okay. So I didn't see anything of Dan live this time again, but what I saw on video was really good. Apart from that, yeah, I'd say probably also like the French guys really are close to that league as well. So like Dupuis and Prudhomme played absolutely amazing, and I think
I'd like to play against them.
Me too.
Again.
Yeah.
They didn't really try for very long in our men's game. I think they just focused into the mix
that was
instead,
smart.
and subbed a few of those guys off.
Yeah. So I've played against them
next game
a lot, and it's always very enjoyable. And from the women's, I'm not going to name an Austria woman that's gonna hurt the climate in the Austrian team probably. So I'm gonna go maybe with Natalie. Definitely, I'm just a big Natalie fan. And then from England, I thought Lauren played extremely well in that final in the first half and made a lot of hits. Gintaure. Is that her name? How is she pronounced?
It's a good question. We call her G to
okay, G's better. Okay, that's good. So I'm gonna go with G.
Lauren was.
She was really awesome.
What do you think, Stefan? I feel like if Lauren had maybe come back on or stayed on, that would have caused you some problems.
That's very interesting. I didn't understand that substitution, to be honest.
No,
but I was quite happy about it because she just made hits, and not many of your girls really could make those single hits, and she really could, and that really hurt us in certain situations. So I was not unhappy when she was swapped off.
Yeah, I think I was in the stands, and it's not my place to second guess the coaches, but I thought she probably should have stayed on or certainly come back on sooner. But everybody has their reasons. But yeah, she's a good player.
Yeah, definitely. So, and apart from that, yeah, Amy was great as well. I think I was really impressed with the English team. To be honest, they really played way more aggressive than I thought they would, and I was really positively surprised.
Yeah.
And it gave me a lot to work on, and which was fun. So that was the only final I really enjoyed. But yeah. But yeah, I think that's that for that question. So next question, the influence of playing in the same league when prepping for matches like the final. Bas from Netherlands. I think the question, I don't know, because that pretty much is for every one of us. Everyone plays in the same league, but maybe it's for
Is that maybe less? I don't know if you know the Dutch league at all. Do they not play all in the same league?
I don't know. Man,
Do some of them play in your league?
no, yeah, but no, they play in the same league. The influence of playing in the same league
Yeah.
when prepping for matches like the final. Maybe if you just know your opponents, because obviously, some like pretty much only Sam plays in the English league, right? From NI.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest and say that we do that our league is not our preparation. It doesn't like the level drop off in our league. Like we have two top heavy teams, and then like I would say, that like there is a drop off, and then a pretty competitive league after that, competing for the third, fourth spots. But the top two's been pretty much locked. And it's not really, we don't really even have fun games with the ones down below, and it's a problem our league's trying to solve of how we can perhaps separate us a little bit more, or minimize the number of times we have to play new teams and things like that, because we are very small. Most of our work's just done at monthly training camps, and we get into it like and just push really hard for the Saturday and the Sunday. We do 6 hours both days, and just really go at each other. And don't accept. With a good attitude, I would suggest when you get into your training camps is if you don't think it would work against Austria, or you don't think it would work against England, then don't do it. So I could take an easy shot on a not less experienced player, but all I've done there is beat the individual in front of me, and I haven't made myself any better by doing so.
Okay. Yeah, that's at least some answer. I like the answer. Don't know if it fits the question.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go to his second question. Do you guys analyze team strategy mostly, or more individual skills and weaknesses? I guess that's when you do video analysis or preparation for the teams you play.
Yeah, I think bit of both, to be honest. We look at the strength of the team, but the dominant individuals within that team and what their skill set is. And particularly if we're playing teams we know well, there's less analysis in a way that needs. I know what Adam does. You know what I do. Stefan knows what we do. So it's kind of just staying on top of things. And I think, yeah, I mean, we're looking at the team as a whole, but I think if you can identify patterns of play and who the individuals are that the team relies on, you're going to be in a better position. So do a lot of that in the lead up to a tournament. And we always seem to play Adam in British Champs about 2 weeks before a major tournament. So that's always the best thing. Like, has anything changed in this last year? So I might have to get to Vienna calling and see if Stefan's changed anything, because I haven't played him in so long.
True that.
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say versus Austria and England, where we all know we're going to play them, and there's so much footage now out there of us playing there because it's a guarantee. You're looking, as Brett said, for patterns of play, and particularly for patterns of play that they've done against you before, because there's certain things they might not be able to do or can do easier against other teams. So that's the sort of thing, and pointing those things out, like obvious examples being Brett's pre-throw timing on our approach to the line, Stefan and your run and counter approach and dealing with the fake and trying to identify how we're going to deal with how to deal with that and things like that, and those sort of patterns and how you attack the line and things like that. Whereas probably more so with the other nations, it only takes a couple of sets for us to get a general idea of how they play. What way do they fake? Who's trigger happy? Who's calling? Things like that. And then if they have a talented player, then they'll maybe get a little bit of individual. They're quite good at doing this certain thing, but there's no experience of them doing it against us. So there's no way of identifying how we should change, just an idea of what we think might work against it. And that's it.
Well, fair. I think those are good answers. I think it's the same for us. Basically, the more time we have, the more we go into individual stuff, but the less time we have, we focus on team dynamics and also focusing a lot onto our play, what we do good, what we do wrong, and where we want to change individual stuff. And the more time we have, the more we go into individual players, but this time we really didn't at all, especially since we didn't know whom we're going to play. We didn't see Kareem play at all. We didn't know who's going to play on the English team. So yeah, we wanted to do it at the venue and basically prepare one day to the other, but there was no time, so we didn't. But we will do in the future, hopefully. All right, so Chimai 39's question: how would you feel if there was a qualification process for Euros, like top 4 or 5 from NEC, CEC, WEC?
I like it in theory, but I think we're okay for numbers at the moment, and I do like that. I think other teams will improve more by having the ability to go to both and not being like left out and only having like an NECs every 2 years. I think that would hurt them in terms of their development. I also think that the regionals are very important for entering B teams and things like that, and you wouldn't want an England B team or an Austria B team or an NI B team to put a nation out in a quarter-final or something like that, and then that disrupt the qualifying and like ruin the rankings because B teams and C teams have beaten A teams and things like that. And if there was a qualification, you would have to just make it one per nation, and they just go at each other and rank. And I think that would be worse for developing the sport, the individuals in the sport.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very good point, because I think it would be good if we only have 4 days for the tournament and to make it a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit more time efficient and not so many games where there are games where teams play and lose 40-0. But on the other hand, those are very good limitations. And as you said, if you have B and C teams that determine the outcome of an CEC, then that's really not good for a qualification tournament. So I think at some point in the future, there will have to be some sort of qualification, because those tournaments are just getting too big and no one can handle them anymore. But at this point, I personally really enjoy those big tournaments. So I like it. But I also think maybe an A Euros and a B Euros would be fun, where you just have all the teams there as well, but maybe Ukraine doesn't have to play Northern Ireland and stuff like that.
Kind of be like that Football Nations League where you get promoted to the top Nations League, and so
I think in ice hockey it is that way.
Is it? Yeah. So you could have the Euros where it's like the big 3 nations plus France plus top 6, like really high quality 3 days, and then the second Euros you get promoted to, and it's also incentivizing for those nations to win like the second division Euros, because you get promoted to the first or whatever.
Yeah. So maybe that is something for the future. I think at some point we're gonna have to split it up, but at this point, I think it's still it's good that way. And like, I think teams learn so much from the other nations there, and the progression is really pointing in the right direction. So I think for now it's good. But yeah. All right. I think that's it with the listeners' questions. So do you guys have any final words for Adam's first podcast?
You go ahead, Brett.
Well, thank you to the host. Thank you, Adam, for hosting. As always, a big thank you to everybody involved, like the volunteers, the refs, the organisers. These are fantastic events, and as I said on the lead up, when you are in our age group, the three of us, you never know when your last one's going to be. So always appreciate the time with friends and seeing old friends. I was saying to somebody, it's been over half of my life now that I've been playing dodgeball. So a not insignificant amount of time with some great, friends and the people sort of that we've met. So yeah, big thank you to everyone, and always a pleasure to be part of and compete with you guys.
Beautiful.
Yeah, nice. I'll echo some of that. Yeah, had a really great time at Euros. It was nice seeing you all again, and everybody that we competed against. The quality goes up and up, and I hope that everyone out there listening and beyond still has that drive as well to go and progress and give the three of our teams a run for their money ongoing. Because this is a great sport, and we do what we can for it, and just hope it keeps growing and gets bigger and bigger, and the games get better and better.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. So thank you, Adam, for inviting me. I think I have one or two more questions, because something everyone wants to know as well is, are we going to see each other again at some potential world championships, or if that doesn't happen, at some other Euros? What's the situation with the puppies, Adam?
Well, the wee pups run out to your mother now instead. Left me alone. But yeah, look, we'll see. We'll go into the season. I want to enjoy dodgeball a bit. Maybe I was saying before the recording started about maybe enjoying doing some of these club competitions abroad instead. I like kind of prioritizing that a bit. But like, if I'm still playing, then I'll see how fit I am towards the time. I'm sure I'll still be involved with Northern Ireland training and all that. We've got an NECs potentially coming up this year, which shouldn't be too far away in terms of location, so I'll think about that as well. Worlds is a decision if and when it's announced officially and logistically, and all of that to consider. I think it would be easier if Euros was again next year. I think that would be an easier thing to say yes to. Worlds is tough. You have to get your body even fitter than you do for Euros, and we'll see if I want to put myself through that again. I know I'll get peer pressured from all the lads that are staying on, and they'll probably want me to keep going. But I can't give a definitive answer at this point. I hope to. If I can be there and it all works out, I'll hope to be there, because I love the sport. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, similar to Adam, if it was Spain Euros next year, I'd be saying I'm there, it's done. Yeah, that sounds class. But time and money and location of Worlds is all unknown. But the rumours are it's going to be far, it's going to be expensive, it's going to be long. And there may be additional considerations depending on where it is with teams and what they decide to do and who decides to go or not to go. So I think it would be foolish to sort of say yes for sure. And yeah, I absolutely love the sport. Would love to keep going as long as I possibly can. I've sort of alluded to it previously. It's not necessarily always my call these days with commitments elsewhere. So I will respect the multiple decision makers in the process. And yeah, I'd love to have Spain. A Euros or a Worlds in Spain next year would have just been perfect. Somewhere in Europe, somewhere local, that doesn't require such distance and time and money. But we'll see. Need to get fit from this injury. I'm going to be out for a little while with this shoulder, sadly. But yeah, you'll see me on a stream near you domestically, and we'll see what goes from there.
That's good to hear. So at least the motivation is there.
Oh,
I
for
think
sure.
it's the same for. That is good. So I think let's prioritize some club tournaments. So we got UDO
Champions
coming up.
League.
We got Champions League. We got Vienna calling. Maybe England or British Dodgeball.
If Vienna, if Vienna looks like a good tournament, it just has to be nowhere near the other internationals.
It's not this
and,
year, so it's going to be good this year. Dates
Yeah, that'll be
already
good.
almost set, so
You
I
want to play for me,
expect you there.
If not,
We'll see if my team abandons me. We'll see who.
I've already got Kareem, so watch out.
I know he's that's the first. Is that the first official leak of him sniffing around you
No,
boys?
I was only kidding.
He'd love a run out
No,
with you
we'd-
guys.
we'd
I'm
take
sure
him.
if he ever got the
We
call.
take him.
Yeah.
Perfect. Wow.
Awesome.
A pleasure as always, boys.
Absolutely. It's way too late. This was good. And looking forward to the next one. And I hope to see you at the tournament near Austria soon. All right, guys, enjoy your summer vacation
Yes.
away from dodgeball. And so, Adam, you know the outro of your podcast?
I have no idea what the outro is meant to be.
So you come up
Until
with
the
one.
next one, I come up with a one-liner
Yeah.
and then
it's
just
just that.
see it off. All right. Well, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Brett, and goodbye from Stefan. Until the next one, you'll see one of us hosting it at the next one, hopefully with more exciting guests.
Ooh,
Catch this later. It's been good.
this
Cheers,
was
guys.
fucking smooth. All right, guys.
Wow.
Thanks for joining, Adam.